This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Today I'm talking with Joseph Matheny, a writer and storyteller who built the internet's first alternate reality game. He built a story so convincing, it made people believe a portal to another dimension was hidden in the New Jersey Pine Barrens.
That whole state is another dimension.
Be nice, I've got family in Jersey.
Once you cross the GWB and hit Fort Lee, it's like an alternate universe where every left turn is a jug handle and you're not allowed to pump your own gas.
That story was Ong's Hat, not published as a novel, but scattered across bulletin boards, websites, phone lines, pamphlets. The story felt real. Today we'll talk about where that ARG came from and how it got weaponized. And we'll get into his chatbot from the 90s. You see, he built Google before Google. He built ChatGPT before OpenAI, 30 years ago.
This guy was spreading disinformation when Facebook was just a twinkle in Mr. Zuckerberg's eye. His lizard eye. Respect.
Joseph's also been connected to the John Teeter story, the time traveler who appeared on Art Bell. When I asked him about it, he said, well, this one gets weird. I'll see you after for a private wrap-up just between us. Let's go down to the basement. Joseph, welcome to the basement.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited. I've been a fan for a long time. Before we dig in, I need to know W.C. Fields' martini recipe and method.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's go. I got
Talk to Me by Robert Anton Wilson.
Really?
Yeah.
What do we got?
He comes to my house one day and I said, Bob, I heard you like martinis. He said, well, I like martinis, but only a certain way. You have to make them right. And let me show you. Like, kid, move aside. So, okay, I moved aside. And while he's making his martini, he tells me the story that he read how this martini was made by W.C. Fields in a book. And so you put ice in the shaker, then you pour the vermouth over the ice, then you shake it around, then you pour the vermouth out, leaving the ice in, then you pour the vodka, important vodka, not gin.
Yes, sir.
You pour the vodka over the ice, shake it very gently because you don't want to bruise
Don't
the
bruise the
vermouth.
vermouth, right.
Yep. And then you pour it out.
Very nice.
Yeah. And it works.
I'm going to remember that method.
And that's the way I've made martinis ever since.
So it's Robert Anton Wilson. So that's kind of a good segue to get back to the origin story. And we can go back as far as you want.
Okay.
I love the bookstore stuff. And that's synchronicities are crazy, but wherever you want to go. Like what made you the pioneer of ARGs? and that could be the last time we even say ARG today.
It goes. It's okay. We go back. Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
I remember when I read a book called "No One Here Gets Out Alive," the story of Jim Morrison, and I like the way they did it. Is they put it in 3 sections, and basically it was like so you realize that an arrow being drawn back, and then the releasing of the arrow was the arc of Jim's story.
Yep.
I was a voracious reader when I was a kid, and my parents were cool in that they said, "Oh, he can read." They were happy, and so they rewarded me by saying, "We will buy you books, and if you read these books, we will buy you more books." And so I would just tear through books, and so I used to buy I was being kind to my parents. I came from a working class background, and said, "Used books are okay because I'm going to tear through them. I'm probably going to mark them up, and then And I would get money to go to garage sales and just pick up whatever. And so in my age, I'm old. I'm 64 years old. So like in the 60s and 70s when I was growing up, horror and the occult was very popular. And so I was big on the Universal monsters, the Hammer films, like all that kind of stuff. And anything to do with that I was reading. So this is a funny segue. I'm at a garage sale, and I'm like, the guy says, you can have all the books on the table for $1, but you got to pack them up and get out of here because I'm done. What can I do? And I'm like grabbing everything I thought was worth it. And one of the books was, I'm like, oh, that's about astrology. And I just threw it in a bag. I get home, I start reading it. I'm like, this is not astrology at all, but it was Tropic of Cancer by Henry Miller.
Oh.
That's how I get introduced to Henry Miller.
Wow, okay.
By thinking it was astrology. Oops.
How old were you?
Oh, God. 12.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, probably great for a 12-year-old.
It was great. It was perfect. I'm like, God, I'm going to do this like with the way this guy writes, you know? And so, like, that was my gateway drug. I from there, I segued into Kerouac and, you know, everything from there. But it was that accident of buying that book for a nickel or whatever it was and reading it and falling in love with, like, this is a whole new thing I didn't know about this.
This is amazing. I didn't know this about you because I can see it in your writing. I can see Kerouac. I can see Hunter S. Thompson. I see that in Henry Miller. I see it in your writing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, those are my influences.
Okay.
Like Bukowski.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Hemingway, it's like make the sentences short and sweet. And
Yes.
like, bam. Like, you know, so I'll go back and rewrite, which, you know, that's Ginsberg.
Yep.
Kerouac was like, write it once.
Right.
You know, no, don't touch it.
And Hemingway says, shut up.
Yeah. Write it once and get away. So, you know, I was like floating in this world of like all this weird counterculture stuff, which is available readily when I was a kid.
You're in Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Chicago. And all this occult stuff and literature. And of course, being in Chicago, all that stuff was available to me. So I started hanging out in bookstores where most of the people hanging out were much older than me. So, you know, they kind of mentored me. And I remember my are you going to be in the club kid thing was this guy said, have you read, I said, I couldn't pronounce Kerouac at the time. I didn't know how, and I called him Kerouac or something like that. I said, I read this book by Jack Kerouac, and I saw this guy look at me. He goes, you know, that guy wrote this book called On the Road, and he would stop at the cafes all the time, and he would get the same thing. What was that? I said, cup of coffee and an apple pie a la mode. He's like, oh, you did read it. And so and then he's like, oh, you cool kid, I'll talk to you. So I started hanging out with these older hipsters that were like, oh, you got to read this, you got to read this, you got to read. So he's feeding me all this stuff. And I'm just a kid, you know, it's like, give me.
Yes.
He's like eating it up. So because of this, it puts me in a position in Chicago where I'm hanging out with people who are doing improv. I'm hanging out with method actors. And these are all people much older than me. But for some reason, I'm the kid. Like, oh, yeah, he can hang out. He's cool. He won't tell on us. He won't tell his parents where he's been. They would take me to things. Yeah, it was incredible.
You were the weird smart kid.
I was the weird smart kid. Yeah. I was the mascot, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Like, oh, we got this kid. And I used to, you know, they loved this. I would memorize things, and I would stand up on a little chair, and I could do lions in the heat and roaming dogs eat right before. I could do the Morrison thing, and they loved that, you know. And so they would make me do it, you know. Like they would get drunk, like, do the Morrison thing, kid, you know, and I would do it. So anyway, I'm around these people who are like just feeding me with all this counterculture knowledge and turning me on to things I would never have been turned on to as a, you know, like my family. They didn't know any of this stuff, you know. My dad was one of those people like, you know, go to school, get a job, get a good factory job, you know, be done. And I'm not saying he was a bad person. He was a great person. But, you know, that was his way of thinking. All these things that I'm doing, he would just be like, okay, whatever. You know, it's like he didn't understand and he didn't care. He knew I was not up to good things according to him, but he wasn't a perfect kid either. So he just kind of let me go. You know, he's like, he's doing something, but I'm not sure what it is. But he's not doing drugs. Little did he know. I was.
Someone sent me a clip of myself from about 2 years ago. I watched it and thought, that guy's on. Sharper, faster, more himself. And I don't remember feeling different then, which means I didn't notice it leaving. Turns out there's actually a reason for that. Most men start losing testosterone around 30, about 1% every year after that. And a lot of what your body does produce gets locked up by a protein called SHBG. So your body can't even use it. It's like having money in the bank with a frozen account. That's when I started taking Mars Men. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't expect much. But a few weeks in, I was back to the 2 a.m. rabbit holes. That guy in the clip started showing back up. Mars Men is designed to help free that locked testosterone so your body can actually use it. 8 natural clinically dosed ingredients. Tonkat Ali, Shilajit, vitamin D, zinc, boron. No synthetics, no needles. Made in the USA, third-party tested. And some men report more consistent energy, stronger workouts, better recovery. There's also a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. For a limited time, our listeners get 60% off for life and 3 free gifts when you use BASEMENT at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com and use code BASEMENT at checkout. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Tell them we sent you.
Long story short, I get involved with all these artists, and I start getting involved in something called mail art when I was in college. And mail art goes all the way back to Dada. It's basically like you put things together as a package, you mail to a friend or you mail to a list of friends. They put things together, they add, they subtract, they conglomerate, and then they mail on to the next list. And so, like, this is going on all over the world, right? We're mailing stuff all over the place.
I remember this.
It's still around.
The
actually.
zine culture and all this.
Yeah. Well, the zine culture, then Xerox machines became available. Then we became our own publishers.
Yep.
The punk rock thing happened, which I was right in the middle of. So all of these things are happening. And I started doing weird things by mail art. So I started doing episodic stories.
Based horror stories or
whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I would like write 5 lines and send to a friend, and he would write 5 lines and send to another friend, and I'd get it back and be like, oh wow, okay, that's where we're going. And it was called the I think the Dadas called it the Exquisite Corpse. And we did all these things together, and I looked at it and I said, there's something here. There's something here. And I don't have to go through a publisher to create this art. I don't have to go to an agent. I don't have to do any of these things. I don't have to do a gatekeeper. I can make art that gets to a lot of people, and I don't have to go through, any corporate anything.
Is that what you wanted to do at this point, is be an artist?
It was what I was. Yeah.
I mean, you were, but I mean, what are you telling Dad you're going to do for a living?
I didn't have an answer to that.
You just hear a lot of snipping and taping upstairs.
Yeah, and at that time I was painting.
Okay.
So I was doing a lot of large paintings, and my family was trying to be supportive, but didn't know how to be because they didn't understand what I was doing.
Of course.
And so, like, my mom would tell her sisters, "Ask him to do a painting for you," And one of my aunts would say, "Can you do a painting for me?" And I'm like, "Sure." Like, here's my color swatches. No. You have to match my furniture. No.
Oh.
So they really didn't get it, but they were trying to be supportive, and
Sure.
I didn't want to be mean to them. So I painted some paintings. But basically, I was looking for a new kind of art because I felt like the media was this canvas that wasn't being fully implemented to its full potential, because I had this theory that an experience for me was I would see something on TV, I would go find a newspaper or a magazine article about it, then I would go get a book out of the library, and I would build this experience around this thing that I had latched onto. Who knows how I latched onto it? Like walking down the street and there was a poster on a pole and it said something. I'm like, what is that about? And then I would follow up on it. I'm like, wouldn't that be cool if there was an art form or I built a pathway for people to follow up on something weird that I placed in front of them? It's like, oh, there's this thing. There's this place. And so I remember my thesis in college was I wrote a book of poems, and I made a videotape at the time, which was cutting edge.
It must have been.
Yeah, it was. It was cutting edge. I think 1984. It was cutting edge at the time. I did a VHS tape, and you would watch the tape, and then you would get clues from the book and the tape to go at a certain place at a certain time on a certain day. And if you did, you would see the third act, which was a play of real humans, play it out in front of you as if you weren't there, and the third act happened. And my professor was like, "Wow, what are you smoking, kid?" He goes, "It's cool, but wow." And then and it worked. Like I remember jumping up and down after it was over, and hugging my girlfriend at the time, like, "It worked! It worked! It actually worked!" Because I wasn't sure it was going to work because it was a lot of moving parts.
Sure. And you really weren't focused on dopamine triggering at this point because that's what you became a master of dopamine.
Yeah. Yeah, but at that point, I was just an unsure kid who had a stupid idea, and I put it together. I'm like, can this work? This might not work.
It can work.
Yeah, but like you always have those theater jitters, like.
Of course.
I'm going to suck. But
I have those before every show, man.
Right. So I just I wasn't sure it was going to work, and then I got really happy when it worked. And everybody that did it, like followed it through, told me like, "Dude, that was incredible. I read the poems, and then I watched the tape, and then we went to the performance. It was amazing. Like it was like it all made sense." So I was like, "Yeah, well, good. It's like 3 acts, boom." So I started playing around with ideas of how can I do this another way. And so I played with street theater. I used to do a lot of street theater. I started hanging out with people in Chicago. Studied under Del Close.
You studied under Del?
Well,
himself?
people that I hung out with did. I was a little too young for Del.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second City.
Next generation, I probably would have been there, but yeah. But my girlfriend's dad, my girlfriend at the time, her dad was a friend of Del's.
Amazing.
So I used to hang out with him. When Del got sober, apparently, he still hung out at the Earl of Old Town, which was a bar in Old Town, Chicago. And he would go into the bar and drink soda water and lime because the bar was where he got inspiration. So he kept going, but he just didn't drink anymore. So, yeah, because I started studying the things that he talked about because if you might not know this, I told this to the people at the Del Close Theater in Hollywood, and they didn't know this either. Del was a practicing Golden Dawn magician.
I didn't know that. Golden Dawn. Wow.
Yeah. So if you look at the portrait at the if it's still there, the Del Close Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, if it's still there, I don't know if it is.
I don't think it is.
I've been gone for like 10 years.
Yeah.
But it used to be. If you look at the portrait, a big painting of him on the wall, he's wearing a ring with a pentagram on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And if you read some of the weirder little interviews that he did, he does admit to using the Golden Dawn talismanic principles to teach improv.
That's amazing.
So talismata is when you learn ritual, you learn basically theatrical principles. And so you think in your mind, like in front of you there is an angel, and this is what the angel is wearing, and these are the principles of the angel. You learn all this stuff you're projecting. And Del used that as the method to teach people this is what you're doing in theater. It's like when you're talking to this person in front of you, they're not the person in front of you, they're the person that you're supposed to be talking to in the text.
This is an initiation ceremony.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
2 actors.
Yeah.
I never really thought of it that way, but that's really what it is.
He never laid it out for most people like that because most people would be like, magic, ah!
Right.
And they
that's
would run.
not right.
But that's what he was doing. If you want to know what was in that man's mind, he wrote a short-lived DC comic series called Wasteland.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there's like 13 issues, and you can still find them. They're out of print, but you can still find them. And in that, he talks about ritual magic, and Philip K. Dick makes an appearance, Robert Anton Wilson makes an appearance, Timothy Leary makes an appearance, G. Gordon Liddy makes an appearance. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to read this.
Yes.
It's great. It came out in the 80s. It's just amazing. But that's where it all came from, was his improv theories, which everybody knows Del Close is the guy.
Yes, he's the guy
that you go to for the theory.
Mm-hmm.
And it all came from Golden Dawn. So I'm studying and playing with people that are studying with him, and I'm learning from him, and I started learning and studying magic, and I'm like, oh, this is theater. Okay, I can do this. Yeah, theater. And so I'm putting all this together, and out of this, Swiss Army knife that forms in my head, of all these influences, I'm like, oh, if I could only do this thing, if I had a way to get it in front of people. So I started playing around with HyperCard. I don't know if you remember HyperCard.
Sure.
Yeah.
You may have to catch people up.
Okay, HyperCard came out right before the web.
Yep.
And basically it was hypertext that was localized. So it was in a file. You click on a link and it takes you to another page in the file.
It was magic.
It was magic.
Yeah.
You click on an image, it takes you to another page in the file. When I saw that, my mind went,
yep.
But I started putting together a HyperCard stack, as they were called.
Mm-hmm.
And right about that time, this was 90.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with AutoQuote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance and Affiliates. Not available in all states and situations. Prices may vary on how you buy.
3? Somewhere around there? Maybe earlier. Somebody said, go to your Unix machine, type in the words LYNX space HTTP:// string.
Link's first browser.
Yeah.
On the
text
command line.
only.
On the command line, yeah.
And I did it. And I went tab, 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 click. And it took me to another system. Not another page on another system. And that's when my head just went, this is it. This is it. This is what I've been looking for. I thought HyperCard was it. This is HyperCard on steroids. This is it. And that's when the light went off. So all that was searching for this way to tell stories that I thought the way stories happen to you. Because I think stories happen to you. I think storytelling is the most important thing that humans do. And that we shouldn't turn it over to corporations and bean counters. None of that. It's like a very sacred thing. You have a responsibility as a storyteller to shepherd your story and protect it. The story was given to you by who knows what, right? But it wasn't you, wasn't all you, and it wasn't somebody else, it wasn't all them. Like, of course, I stand on the shoulders of giants and I read people and I'm inspired, but it wasn't just that. There's like this holy thing that happens, like this inspiration.
You believe in like the muse.
The muse, absolutely. Yeah. And it says, you have this story to tell, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm entrusting you with this story, and you go tell this story. I think storytellers used to be revered for a reason. It's because what they were doing was important. So you could break it down to like simple stuff. I'm going to tell you a story about this part of the woods where you go and a monster's going to come get you. Really what I'm telling you is like there's bears over there, and probably don't go there at night.
Yep.
Right? That's what I'm telling you, really. But what I'm telling you in a way that's entertaining, mimetic, you remember it,
yes.
And you're going to tell your kids, don't go over there because there's monsters. In other words, don't get eaten by the bears. But if you just tell a kid, don't get eaten by the bears, they're going to want to go see what's over there. I would have.
Yep.
You would have.
Of course.
The first thing we're going to do. Oh, I don't believe this bear crap. And you're going to go over there, right? So you have to tell a story that's going to really stick. They're going to repeat it. It's going to make an impression. And they're going to carry it with them. So you're passing it on, right? And mimetics, remember, is from genetics, right? It's a metaphor from genetics. So it's something we pass on. Stories are something we pass on. It's very important. And I'm saying this because I want people to really understand that as an artist, handing your story over to bean counters is sacrilege. Don't do it.
Summer is here, and if you want to actually feel confident, less bloated, and energized this season, it starts with your gut. I thought bloating after every meal was just normal. It's not. Once I fixed my gut, everything else followed. And the one thing that made the biggest difference is cowboy colostrum. Cowboy colostrum is 100% American grass-fed, made right here in the USA. True first-day whole colostrum packed with bioactives, immunoglobulins, and growth factors. It stabilizes your gut, and the peptides make your skin and hair look amazing. It's the highest quality bovine colostrum you can buy. I started taking it for my gut. The results I didn't expect are the ones that got me. Thicker hair, clearer skin, no more bloating after meals. And I'm not the only one. 83% of participants in Cowboy's clinical study reported improved gut health, 79% less bloating, 72% improved digestion, 62% fuller, thicker hair. And cowboy colostrum doesn't strip it down. Whole, full-fat, high-protein, no artificial flavors, no fillers. Vanilla in your iced coffee. Strawberry with milk like a milkshake. It's effortless and delicious. And yes, calves get fed first. They only collect the surplus. For a limited time, our listeners get up to 25% off their entire order. Just head to cowboycolostrum.com/yfiles and use code YFiles at checkout. That's 25% off when you use code YFiles at cowboycolostrum.com/yfiles.
So I got hit by this bolt of lightning, as my late friend Ralph Abraham used to say, a bolt from the blue. And it just struck me like, this is it. This is the thing. And I remember telling friends, there's this thing that I'm doing called bulletin board systems that has a connection to this thing called the internet, which is going to be the next way to tell stories. It's going to be the way to publish. It's going to be the way to distribute. It's going to be everything. And they just looked at me like, are you crazy? Are you nuts? This is like CB radio, man. It's going to go away in like 6 months.
Yeah, right.
I remember somebody telling me that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was on BBS's. I was a weirdo.
Me too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're like, you've been spending much time with this computer, son. And I remember showing a friend of mine, this is what it's going to be. And I showed him links. I'm like, I can put the story together, and the story can have links to other ideas. So you can expand upon the idea, or you can explore the idea. You can like drill down on certain things. And he looked at it and he just said, this is an older person, a well-known writer. I won't say who it was. He's gone now, but I don't want to embarrass him, even in death. He says, when this thing can make me a sandwich, give me a call.
Oh.
That's what he said to me. So I said, oh, well, too bad. But I was really convinced. I'm like, this is going to be the next wave.
Well, mail art translated well to BBS's.
And the funny thing was, two of the hobbies I had as a kid was mail art and shortwave. I really got into shortwave when I was a kid. And all the people that I knew from those communities started to show up on BBS's. They were some of the first adopters. Art Bell.
Yep.
Shortwave guy shows up on BB. These are the first people doing BBS. Gophers and FTP sites and all these things.
I remember, man.
Were available to, a few. Not a lot. But I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I miss those days a little bit.
I do too. And then Netscape happened.
Yes.
And that's when, boom, it blew wide open.
Yep.
And I was sitting right at the right place at the right time with enough momentum already, because I'd been doing it before that I just like plowed right into it and rode the wave. Because at the time that happened, all of a sudden, all these businesses, we have to have email, we have to have web. Who can we call? Oh, there's this weirdo that knows all this stuff. And my phone started ringing. And then I did a hack, which a guy from Spin Magazine wrote about, where the Clinton administration came out and said that they were going to have email in the White House, which at the time was like, wow, I could write president at whitehouse.gov. Not that he's ever going to answer me, but I could write him. And I watched the watched the server come up, and I'm like, I bet they didn't lock this down. So I sent an email to president at whitehouse.gov, and then I sent a second email to president at whitehouse.gov, and then a third and a fourth. I'm like, they didn't turn it off. So they had an auto reply, which you had at that time. Now it comes stock, or eventually came stock. But at the time, when you deployed your mail server, you had to manually change this. That when you got an email, if you got a second email from that email address, you shouldn't send an auto reply.
Right.
24 hours later, right? It used to be like, if you just did it, it came. So I started spamming emails in the White House. I called it the rain of toads. I did ASCII pictures of toads.
Yeah.
And I was raining toads on the White House. And we were getting so many replies back, so like it shut down both sides of the connection.
You did a DOS attack on the White House?
Yeah. I did.
With ASCII art.
I did, with ASCII art. The reign of REIGN, the reign of toads. And then a reporter found out about it, and he wrote about it. And the next thing you know, my phone was just ringing off the hook, because this is not the case anymore. But back then, if you did a hack and it was a white hat hack and you got away with it, you would get a job offer.
Sure.
Not anymore.
No.
Now you just go to jail.
Yes.
And you're banned from corporate life. But back then, people would call you and say, you know some things about this stuff, and this is a dark art that nobody knows about yet.
Yeah, now they ban you from the country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now they send you away.
Mm-hmm.
Or put you in jail.
Yep.
But back then, I got a phone call from the Secret Service.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. I was very nervous on that phone call.
What's with the toads?
What's with the toads, man? And you're not going to do that again, are you? I'm like, I was just testing to see if you put on the auto reply 24-hour pause, you know? It was just, making sure you're secure. And then they left me alone after that. But the job offers started pouring in.
Is this before Robert Anton Wilson comes into your life?
Oh, no. This is way after.
Can we talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, you'll roll that back.
Okay.
So before this happened, I'm still in Chicago. And I was in a band, like everybody my age. And
is this when you went by Sid with a C?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Go ahead and tell him why it's a C, Joseph. Sid Vicious, Sid Bennett.
Sid Barrett.
Sid Barrett.
Yeah.
But the C.
Yeah. I was known at the time for doing a certain drug on a regular basis.
Heroically.
Before Terrence coined that term, I was a heroic doser. I was a big fan of Jim Morrison. Did I mention that? So yes, I was one of those people, and I was always talking about weird stuff, because I was a weird kid. And my guitar player, who was weird himself, but not as weird, I guess, but he loved me because I could introduce him to weird things he hadn't heard of. But he introduced me to a lot of music, so there we go. And one day he just looks at me, he's like, "Have you read Illuminatus trilogy?" I'm like, "No."
Just out of the blue, he says that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was talking, because I've been doing Sid and talking
Right.
weird things, and he was like, "Have you read Illuminatus trilogy?" I'm like, "No, I hadn't even heard of it. What was that?" "So you should read it, man. You should read it. You're in it." I'm like, "Okay." So I went to the library and went looking for it, and of course it was gone, probably stolen. But I did find another book by the same author called Cosmic Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read it and blew my mind again.
What was it about Cosmic Trigger?
Oh, it was just like everything he was talking about was everything I was thinking about. It was just like we made a connection, And he introduced me all this new thinking, these new ways of thinking, new writers I never heard of. Like it was like an off ramp.
Well, in Cosmic Triggers, Robert Anton Wilson, this is about recognizing signs throughout history and
synchronicity. It was about model agnosticism.
Yep.
Like the whole idea of like basically what you learn in theater, which is suspension of disbelief, is the same thing, right? Only he had a mathematical, scientific background for it. Like he had fancy words to put around it. I'm like, well, I know that, yeah.
I loved how he talked about meteors being a meteor could be a sign of something good or something bad.
Yeah.
Or something good or something bad can happen. And if the meteor just happens to be there, that's now a cosmic trigger.
That's a cosmic trigger. Mm-hmm. He was playing around with the serious stuff that was going on. He basically did a whole exercise in suspension of disbelief for this whole period of his life. And he cataloged it and he published it as a book, right? And he introduced me to all kinds of new ideas. And one of those ideas was Philip K. Dick, who I had not heard of.
You hadn't?
I didn't know. I didn't know he wrote Blade Runner at the time. Right. But I had seen Blade Runner. I'm like, oh, this is a great film. But I didn't know at that time. And so I read about Bob talking about, you got to read this book, Philip K. Dick, Valis. So anyway.
And then that's that. Then
we'll lead to that. So I'm going to buy more books by him. And I saw a poster on the wall of at the time, New Age was a new thing. This was the 80s at the New Age bookstore, and they had books by him on the shelf. And
by PKD or RAW?
RAW.
Okay.
And there was a poster on the wall that he was appearing just down the street from where I was living at a Zen center.
No shit.
Yeah.
Chicago still?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to go there,
on the lakefront, yeah. So I got to go there. So I show up early, and I was a smoker at the time, and I show up, and I'm standing out front smoking a cigarette at the Zen Center. And this, squat little Irishman comes out and says, "Hey, can you give me one of those?" Like, okay. Like, I'm Bob, by the way. I'm like, you Robert Anton Wilson, because I didn't know what he looked like.
No.
He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm doing this thing here. I'm like, yeah, I came to see you. We're smoking. He's like, don't tell my wife you saw me smoking, because Arlen got on his back for smoking. But yeah, we shared a cigarette, and we stood out there for.
Well, what's going on in your mind? You like, Bob Wilson just bumped a cigarette off me. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not freaking out.
No.
Okay.
No, I was like, oh, cool, he smokes.
Not phased. Okay.
Go with it. And we just talked about some stuff, and Timothy Leary had just come out with Mind Mirror on DOS at the time. And I told him, like, it's pretty cool, but, you could use some of this and some of that, and he's like, well, do you write code? I'm like, not yet. I'm thinking about it. He's like, well, then write code and do it yourself. I'm like, yeah, good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So we hit it off. We swapped addresses. He was in Los Angeles at the time. And then, we traded letters and things like that every once in a while, but, and then later, a couple years later, I moved to Santa Cruz completely by accident. Do you know this story?
This is with your girlfriend and Anubis?
Yeah. My cat.
Yeah. I know the story, but people don't. But I love Anubis. It's perfect name for a black cat.
Yeah, we have to get there. So,
okay.
So Cosmic Trigger triggered me to find Valis.
To find Valis?
It was out of print at the time.
Oh, to find the book.
The book.
You couldn't find that book?
It was out of print.
Wow, okay.
This was 84, 5?
Yeah.
It was out of print. And it was not a popular book then.
No.
Phil was not popular then. Like, he wrote Blade Runner, but that was it. Like, none of his stuff is getting made into movies yet.
Were you aware of Jacques Vallée at this point yet?
I was, because I read Passport to Magonia when I was young, and I went, yeah.
Yes, right in my veins.
Yeah, it's like, this.
I mean, I've heard PKD or people around him say that Valis was a synchronicity with Jacques' name.
Well, apparently it was for me too, because I don't know why it got in my head. Like, I have to find this book. It became like an obsession. And I started to get, and there was no internet at the time. So, like, this is 84.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use bookstores. I'm asking people, they never heard of it.
Right.
And I'm like, can I go through your boxes? Like, I'm just like being a nugnik, annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, okay, whatever, dude, go look for your cosmic thing. And so eventually I did find it in a very weird circumstance. I was going through the yellow pages and just looking for used bookstores because I'd run out of the ones I knew. And I called this one used bookstore, and this lady answered, and she said, yes, I think I might have that. I said, well, there's supposedly is a trilogy. She's like, I think I have 2 of them. So I walk not too far from where I lived. I walk over, or no, I took the bus, and then I walked from the bus stop, and this didn't look like a bookstore. It looked like it might have been a storefront at one time, but it was like the windows were newspapered over. And I knocked on the door, and this really nice old lady with silver hair and crystal blue eyes. You know those people that have those blue eyes and it's like, you can't stop looking at them?
I think you described her as elvish.
Yeah. She was short.
Yeah.
And I looked at her. I'm like, wow, okay. You've got an aura, lady. And she took me, and all the books were in boxes. There was no shelves. It was like she shut the thing down,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's going out of business, or maybe she never was in business. And she walked me over to a box, and she pulled out Valis. She said, I've got this one. And then she pulled out another copy of Valis. She said, but I have this one. It was a hard copy.
Oh.
But I was a poor ass little punk rocker at the time.
You didn't take the hard
counting my quarters. And so I yeah. And so I I'll take the paper back, and I took the paper back, and then immediately I was like, oh, buyer's remorse. But, did what I had to do. And then when I got home, I'm like, you should have bought that hardback, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You should have bought that hardback. And I called her and called her and called her. She never answered again.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
And so I walked over there and I banged on the door to see if she could hear me. And it was a storefront in Chicago. They have a storefront and then a house above it. And it was a railing with a porch. And this guy walks out, this yuppie, that was a thing then. He even had the suspenders. If you remember, there was a uniform that they all wore. And he leans over the rail. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, well, the lady sold me a book and I wanted to get the other book. He's like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Get out of here. This has not been a store for a long time. Just leave. He was like angry.
It's not been a store?
Yeah. For a long time.
For a long time?
Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't know. And he's being real rude to me. He's like, yeah, get out of here. Like I was ruining his day. And I'm thinking maybe his mom, because she looks about right to be the age of his mom. Maybe his mom sold me the book and wasn't supposed to. Or something. I don't know. He was like, he just wanted me away from his house. And so I left, and I just kept going back and calling. Never, ever, ever got anybody answer the phone or the door ever again.
Do you think that was a supernatural experience or just a weird circumstance?
I think it was a weird circumstance that fits well as a supernatural experience.
I mean, it reads well. It
reads well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be supernatural to be supernatural.
That's well said, yeah.
She could have been in the store when I called and picked up the phone when I called. She probably didn't run the store. The store did not look like it was in business and knew that she had the book I was looking for. She may have even had dementia. I don't know, And the reason dude was mad because he didn't know.
This is so unlikely.
He didn't know mom
right.
had let me into the house, And, back then I used to dress like a punk rocker, so I did not look like yuppie friendly at all. So he's like, get this guy. This guy's probably going to break into my house, Get him away. So anyway, I get that. I get Valis, and it just absolutely melts my brain. Melted me down. Like I admit, I probably was having a manic episode. It really did something to me. Like really touched me hard. And
what was the theme in Valis that spoke to you?
I couldn't point to any one thing.
The omniscience of it.
No, it wasn't that. It was that at the same time that I found the book, I found a used copy of the interview I think Rickman did with Philip K. Dick, and he published 3 books of the interview. And so I read that while I was reading Valis. And then I realized this was a true story. Yeah. This really happened to this guy.
Yep, it did. He said it did.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him give that talk in Metz in '77?
Yeah.
He said all this stuff I read about real stuff.
Yeah.
The Nazis did win the war, just not in this timeline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everybody thought he was nuts.
I love watching the audience during the talk. Right. They thought that he was just going to talk about sci-fi.
Oh, it's a bit.
No.
Half of them he's doing a bit, and the other half I think he's lost his mind.
Right. This is all a simulation. In 77.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is mind-blowing in 84.
And this melts my mind.
Of course.
This melts my mind. And then all this stuff, I started seeing signs,
Yep.
Like Bob Wilson said in Cosmic Trigger, he said he was playing Bavarian TV, where he would flip the channels and then he would get sentences.
Yes.
He's like, I'm like Phil K. Dick, the fucking TV's talking to me. So he would do that. And
Del Close had something called a one-word story.
Yeah.
That was Bavarian TV.
Yeah. And so I started having these experiences that I couldn't turn off. And I was like, what's going on? And so I started getting, I was buying weird pamphlets, any weird pamphlet I get my hands on. And so I got this weird magazine that was being published out of Berkeley called Mondo 2000, or at the time it was called High Frontiers. It was a Xerox art. And I found out about them through Xerox art stuff. And I sent away and I got the pamphlet. And it was all this stuff about Philip K. Dick and Robert Anton Wilson. I was like, what is this? It was like, it became Mondo 2000. It was this whole culture that eventually became the internet.
Yes.
I mean, they really did. They were wired before wired.
That's right.
And they knew the wired people, actually. So I'm like having all these things pop up, like Berkeley, California, Northeast Bay Area, California, like in my face. Like everywhere I was looking, it was like Bay Area, California. And I knew nothing about the Bay Area in California, And then one day I just told my girlfriend, I'm like, let's move to California. I mean, really, let's just pack up and go. Like, what's stopping us? And she was just crazy enough that she said yes. She's like, yeah, let's go.
Okay.
So we did. We literally just had a garage sale, pared down all the big stuff, put all the stuff that would fit in the car, the cat and us, and off we got a car top carrier and off we went. And
did you have a destination in mind?
Yes, Berkeley.
So you were heading to Berkeley, but
on our way,
yep.
I'm telling her I want to go through LA. So we took Route 66 from Chicago to LA. He retraced Route 66.
Yep.
And I said, I'm going to show you some things because I'd been to LA and I'd hitchhiked up Highway 1 one time in early 80s when I was in college on a summer I'd spent in California. And I said, I'm going to take you and show you all these things that I know. Like, we're going to go through LA. I'm going to show you all the Jim Morrison places I know, Love Street and the Weird Store. And I know all these places. I'm going to show you. I know where his studio was. We're going to stay at the Alta, what the hell was it? I've stayed there a couple times. I can't think of the name. It was a motel that was across the street from their studio where he lived, and his room you can rent.
Or who lived?
Jim Morrison.
Oh, okay. I don't know the name.
He lived in this room, the Alta something. It was on La Cienega, and so I showed her all the spots in L.A. And then we drove up Highway 1. I'm like, you're gonna love this. By the way, we got to stop at the Henry Miller Museum in Big Sur, so we did. And then I'm going to show you the cabin because it was still there, where Kerouac wrote Big Sur.
Yes.
You could still hike out back there. It was still there. It's like a Airbnb or something now, but it's not a cabin anymore.
Beautiful up there.
Yeah. So we hiked up, saw the cabin, and then on our way to Berkeley, we pulled over to get gas and coffee at this town I'd never heard of before called Santa Cruz. And I said, this is cool. And we went to a cafe because they had a picture of J.R. Bob Dobbs on the front of it.
And you just like that.
That must be friendly.
Yep.
It's a subgenius. One of us.
One of us.
And so we went in, and then there was a crazy person sitting at the table who told me all the reasons I didn't want to go to Berkeley, man, because Berkeley's done. We're all here now, man, in Santa Cruz, man. And this guy turned out to be right. And he walked me around, and it was just happening. This is before the earthquake. It was a crazy town, like jugglers and fire breathers downtown, and it was awesome, I'm like, yeah, let's try this. So we just stayed there. And I moved into a place upstairs, and the lady downstairs, I saw her doing Tai Chi in her garden one day. And so I yelled over the rail and said, hey, I'm your neighbor. I just moved here. And then went downstairs and I met her. And she turned out to be Nina Gerboy, who was Timothy Leary's secretary from Millbrook. Mm-hmm. And then upstairs was Bob Forty, who was friends with Gordon Wasson, and he was friends with everybody. And like, I'm like, whoa, how did this happen?
And you knew all these names.
I knew all the names, but I didn't know these people.
Right.
I didn't even know where they existed. And so they're like, oh yeah, we know this and this and this. So like, oh, cool. And I was still talking to Bob. He was in LA. And then I'm talking to Nina one day, Gerboy, and she said, well, you know, Bob, she's like, I know Bob. And she's like, Bob's moving here because his kids are here. I'm like, what? He's moving to Santa Cruz? His kids are in Santa Cruz? She said, yeah, they all live here. I'm like,
Synchronicity.
okay, I was supposed to end up here.
Yes.
This is what's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I was not supposed to go to Berkeley.
Nope.
I was supposed to hit where I hit in the middle of, between LA and Berkeley, this place called Santa Cruz, which I had never heard of. Turned out to be the place I needed to be.
Yep.
I met all these people I needed to meet right there.
And Bob was on his way.
And Bob was on his way, which was weird.
Yep.
So that's the Bob story, and that's the Phil story, because as I often say, what pushed me onto that trip, that weird trip, was Philip K. Dick and Valis, which was started by Bob, his book. Like, and I don't know why that stuck. It's like Valis. I knew nothing about it, what it was about, nothing, other than Bob said it was weird, and it must really be weird because I'm reading this book and it's really weird, you know. So I really wanted to know what that was about, and it was a virus. It really was. I read Valis, and it just absolutely threw me for a loop. But I don't mean in a bad way. I mean, I tell people this a lot of times, and some people understand it, some don't. But a breakthrough is necessarily preceded by a breakdown. You have to break down before you can break through.
Sure.
Right? And I needed a breakdown at the time. Like, I was a little too rigid in some things. I was going to stay in Chicago forever. I was going to be a punk rock musician. None of that happened. None of it was what was supposed to happen. Like, I was supposed to go do this other thing. And I saw something shining in the Bay Area, which I did end up in the Bay Area, the larger Bay Area. Yeah. Because 90 miles south of San Francisco is Santa Cruz. And most of the people that used to live in San Francisco had moved to Santa Cruz, the people I wanted to know. They'd all like, oh, the city's getting too big. We got to migrate. Let's go to the country. And Santa Cruz is basically the country. It's a little surf town. And so I saw something shining in the distance when I was hearing all this stuff about the Bay Area of San Francisco. Like, there's something going on there. There's something you need to be a part of. Also, didn't know this was going to happen, but boom, the .com thing happened, right?
Right.
A lot of the people that worked at Apple and ended up working at other places, we all came from Santa Cruz. SCO was there. Borland was there. There was all this stuff going on in Santa Cruz that was tech-oriented. And a lot of the really edgy, Jared Lanier was there at the time. He was a street musician. He wasn't doing virtual reality yet. He was like playing weird African street instruments on the street, you know, with his dreads, and like he looked like he always looked. But there was all this stuff going on. Dan Mapes was there. There was all these people that you would know now, but you didn't know then. There were just people hanging out in this collective weird area of people doing raves and drugs and computers. Basically, is what we were doing. That's what we were doing. And just coming up with weird ideas. And you know, friends of the McKennas were there. I met Dennis a couple of times. Never met Terrence, but I met Dennis a couple of times. He was actually in my building hanging out, so I hung out with him. So all these people, Tim Leary used to stop by our building because Nina was there. Whenever he was coming through town, I'd walk downstairs. Oh, Tim Leary, okay.
Crazy.
You know? Yeah, Bob was always over there once he moved. Like, it was this weird little apartment building. 321 2nd Street is still there. Looks like a ship. It's like all the doors have portholes.
Is this when you started working for Bob or with Bob?
Yeah. So he moved to Santa Cruz. Of course, he got a lot of opportunities to speak in the Bay Area. He did not drive. I asked him why. He told me, and then I found out later why. I asked him why don't you drive? You have a car. He's like, Salvador Dali didn't drive. I'm like, oh, good enough.
That was it?
That was his answer.
Okay. Bob Wilson.
Robert Anton Wilson. What are you going to do? And that was a good enough answer for me.
It is.
Okay. But as it turned out, what I found out was he had polio when he was a kid.
Yes.
And as you know, these people that got over polio when they were a kid have a relapse when they're older, most of the time. And he did. So it was hard for him to press the pedals, and
sure,
he couldn't be sure he would be able to push the brake and hold the brake. And so he needed somebody to drive him. So I became the driver.
Did you go to his funeral in 2007?
No,
you didn't?
No, I didn't get to. I was in Santa Barbara at the time. And actually, at the point that I found out that he had passed, I was actually out of the country. So, and that made me sad.
I'm sure.
But I did visit, afterwards.
Okay, so you're driving Bob. You're driving Bob, and I guess we're getting. Is this when he starts teaching you about Operation Mindfuck?
Yeah. So we're in the car together.
A lot.
With a lot of time.
Yes.
I'm driving, he's riding. And he would tell me, he would regale me with stories. I would regale him with my crazy ideas, and he would tell me that my ideas were probably not as crazy as I thought they were.
Did you know how lucky you were to just be hanging out with this guy?
No, I was just riding the wave, man.
Oh, boy.
I didn't want to, think about the moment because, if you think about the moment is gone.
That's true.
I'm like, I'm just gonna
That's lucid
luxuriate
dreaming.
in the bath.
Yeah, don't think too hard.
Yeah, don't think too hard about this.
No, but I'm jealous of the story.
So we got to swap a lot of ideas. At the time, he had just written a book, which is reissued. His daughter started a press to reissue all his books, and they asked me to write the foreword to that book, which is out now. It's called "Reality is What You Can Get Away With."
Okay, I have to grab that.
It's a screenplay. At the time, we were trying to get that made into an independent film. That didn't happen, but we got close. And he was telling me all kinds of stories about he wanted to be a director. Which most people are always surprised when I tell them that, but he did. His favorite, his idol was Orson Welles.
Interesting.
And Ed Wood.
Interesting.
And at the time, Ed Wood did not have the resurgence that he's had. At that time, people like Bob and I loved Ed Wood.
Sure.
But most people didn't know who Ed Wood was because.
Well, what was it about Ed Wood that attracted you guys?
The fact that he didn't let lack of talent stop him at all. Not 1 minute did he stop. He didn't even pause.
All right, you have to tell us who Ed Wood is then.
Ed Wood
I have to take a swipe out of
him. Yeah. It wasn't a swipe. No, the tenacity, man. Come on.
That's it. He wouldn't disagree.
It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful. I'm not going to let this stop me.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Ed Wood was a guy who made films. How would you say psychotronic?
Yeah.
Yeah, psychotronic films. And if you watch the films, there's moments where it's so clear that it's a disaster that's happening on set.
Yes, it's so. Oh,
and he doesn't stop rolling, and he doesn't edit. Just like that was cut, print, perfect, move on.
A great night is gummies and Ed Wood movies, man.
Yeah. So if you don't know, if people often ask me, I haven't seen that Wood film, I'm like, everybody has Plan 9 from Outer Space is the one that they recommend.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, that's good. If you want to get into the weeds, if you want to deep cut Ed Wood, watch Orgy of the Dead.
I don't think I've seen that.
Color.
What?
His first color film.
Oh, I'm gonna check that out this weekend.
He hired strippers.
Of course he did.
As the actors. It all takes place in a graveyard.
Yeah.
With the only people, the only actors are strippers and Criswell.
Orgy of the Dead. And it's on the list.
Two moments from that are my favorite moments in film. The first one is there's this thing going on where he's like telling these people to throw gold coins while this dancer is dancing her dance. And he goes, throw more gold. And you hear them hitting her. And clearly they're spray painted poker chips.
Yeah.
You can tell. Like, ting, ting, I know that's a poker chip. I know what that is. Not a good poker chip, but a cheap poker chip that you bought at the drugstore. Not like when you'd get it at a casino, you know.
Plan 9 VFX on display again.
Yeah. The other thing that he did in Orgy of the Dead, which is another fine moment in film, is there's a scene where the two main actors who are like the ones drawn into this horror story is a man and a woman driving a car. So it was a convertible, and they're going down the road, and the guy goes, "I can't see, it's too dark." And next cut is a shot of him in the car driving in broad daylight. Desert sun, broad daylight, high noon. And then cut back to the dark. I can't see, it's so dark.
It's never explained.
Never explained. Never explained. So that's Ed
I love
Wood.
it. I love
Ed
it.
Wood, yeah.
Good sleep is everything. That's why Ollie's Science Back Support is made with a blend of melatonin and L-theanine for both kiddos and grown-ups. So when your mind won't switch off, you've got something that can help. Your racing thoughts and restless nights won't stand a chance. Find Ollie Sleep Solutions for the whole family at ollie.com. That's OLLY.com.
So Orson Welles was interesting because it's kind of a mini ARG sort of.
F is for fake?
Yeah, spontaneously.
Yeah. So yeah, Bob and I traded movies. So he turned me on to F is for Fake. I turned him on to Soft Cell Portrait.
Okay.
Which he had not seen, which was the Salvador Dali thing that Orson Welles did. And then he turned me on to, he liked all the weird stuff that Welles did after he left Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the trial.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff he did. The black and white stuff.
Yep.
Like low budget, but good stuff.
The chubby Wells.
The chubby Wells, but some good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, F is for Fake is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So we would, and he didn't know that Soft Cell Portrait, like he did a whole thing where like Salvador Dali was painting the sky. He's like, what? So he had to go see that. So yeah, we would trade Orson Welles stories, and he turned me on to clearly he knew much more about things than I knew, and so I would give him one thing, he'd give me 10 things.
Sure.
So it was like riding around with him was like getting homework, you know? Like then I'd come back from driving him and I'd have like this list of, gotta get this stuff now, you know? It's like,
did you know he was a mentor for you at the time?
Did I know what?
That he was your mentor? You were like, this guy's my Yoda.
He was mentor before I met him. Because I like I said, when I read Cosmic Trigger, I finally got a copy of Illuminatus, and then I read everything he wrote. You know, I was like, clearly, my Yoda. You know? Maybe before Yoda, but he was my Yoda.
Yeah.
And then when I fell into the situation where I was living in the same city as him and a building full of people that he knew, and then he asked Nina Gerboy, he's like, because I drove her around. She was older, and she had published her book, One Foot in the Future, and she couldn't drive either because she had vision problems. So I drove her around, and then he asked Nina, he's like, do you have anybody that can drive me around? And Nina's like, Joe, he's a great driver.
Joe's the weirdo driver.
He's the weirdo driver. So like, and Bob's like, oh yeah, I like him. Yeah. So then I was his driver.
And you're just drinking it up.
Oh yeah. I'm just riding it out.
Before we go to our first break.
No pun intended.
Before we go to our first break, can you take us to through the Esalen story?
Yeah. So
unless there's something in between.
No. That's about the same time.
Okay.
So, and I was driving him. So he asked me, he's like, I've got this weekend at Esalen that I booked, and I want to do...
And Esalen is this hippie retreat. All the Project Stargate guys are going. Puthoff is there.
Oh, yeah, everybody's
Russell
there. Everybody. It's kind of like the home base
yeah.
for all the weird stuff.
Ingo Swan's hanging out, Jacques Vallée, everybody's there.
So you go to Esalen, you see these people. Mm-hmm. They're just hanging out. Esalen is Big Sur. It's on a cliff. It's overlooking the Monterey Bay. On the in the cliff sides, there's natural hot springs that come out of the cliffs, and they've carved hot tubs. So like all this hot tub bureaucracy happens at Esalen. Like all these hippie people are like tripping and sitting in hot tubs and thinking about the next great project, you know?
Amazing.
So
Jeffrey Mishlove was just in here telling Esalen stories.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just the great stories.
The Esalen stories are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you some stories, but anyway. So Bob asked me, he's like, would you want to go to Esalen and spend the weekend and drive me and then help me do this thing? I've got this idea, but it's like, I have this idea. I want to do this thing. I want something to happen. I want it to be an experience for these people that come to see me for the weekend. And I said, I've got an idea. Have you heard of a LARP? He's like, yeah, I think I've heard about that. I'm like, yeah, let's do an Illuminati LARP.
An Illuminati LARP. I didn't know.
You're just the guy to do it.
Yes, of course. He's where it all came from.
Yeah. And so he said...
so what's LARP? I didn't know the term went back that far.
Oh, yeah, LARPs are going on then, yeah. I think the vampire LARPs were happening at that time. So people were LARPing.
And what does it stand for?
Live action role-playing game.
Right.
So Santa Cruz was LARP Central. Because you have to remember something. Nerd things happen first in Santa Cruz, or at least they used to. And then they go to the rest of the world. Because UC Santa Cruz is there.
Yep.
And the biggest congregation of nerds I've ever met in my life was in Santa Cruz in the 80s. And so there was all kinds of LARPing going on. And so I never LARPed, but I observed it, and I had friends that LARPed. And so I would read the books and like, this is theater of a sort, and I can do something with this, but I'm not going to go dress up like a vampire on the streets of Santa Cruz and play LARP with you guys. Sorry. But I am going to look at it, from afar and go, how can I use this in the next theater piece? Because I want to do something that crosses the proscenium, where the actors come off the stage and become intermingled with the audience, and then you lose track of who's who.
Yeah, I've heard you tell that story about the two bleachers.
Yeah.
Tell that real fast.
That was at the Kirk Douglas?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is essentially Tony and Tina's wedding a little bit.
Yeah.
So you go to this thing, there's this theater
Which
show.
I didn't know what it was. Somebody said, there's a theater piece you should go see.
Yeah.
Didn't give me any information. Just kind of like,
right. You got to see this.
Theater piece you should see. So I buy tickets, I go to this thing, and I'm sitting I walk into, there's no stage, there's two bleachers facing each other. Like the portable bleachers that you have for events.
Yeah.
And we're all just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And of course, the longer you sit there, the people start making smart remarks. Like, what are we going to sit here forever? It's like, and that started building up where everybody was quite quipping this and that. And then the actors that were embedded, which we didn't know, were masters of grabbing that and turning it into dialogue. And like before we knew it, we were in the midst of this thing that was happening and a story was being told.
When did you catch on?
I started to catch on. They were good. I started to catch on halfway through. I'm like, at first I was like, something's going on here.
Right.
And then like I started watching people, and then I wasn't able to like say that is definitely an actor.
No, but a Chicago improv guy can sniff it out.
Yeah. There's something to miss here.
Right.
But then I was like, I think he's an actor, but that guy could have just improv that. Because an improv guy will also think that, I would have improv that.
Right.
And I improved into it. So I wasn't one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they held character all the way to the end. They didn't take a bow. We all walked out together to the front of the theater, caught our cabs and Ubers and went home. That was it.
And that's it.
Yeah. That was it. It was an event.
Your mind was blown, right?
I loved it.
They got me.
They got me. They got all of us.
All of us.
And I'm not even sure who they is.
Right. What was the story about?
It was a story about a guy who was trying to write a play, and he was neglecting his family, and it's basically about the writing of a play and how it ruined this guy's family.
I wonder if that's the same story they did every time they did the show, or if it's different.
I hope not.
Probably not.
I hope it was improv every time.
This is like the Herald. It's amazing.
Yeah. So that's kind of, and then it leads back to like what we were doing with Bob. I was like,
yes,
we can, like, if we do this right, people are not going to know who's who. I want to make sure nobody knows who's who. And like everybody's looking at everybody else with suspicion. It'll be a real weekend with the Illuminati, man. And Bob loved that.
Of course.
He's like, go for it, dude. He's like, you need me to play a part? I'm like, yeah, you play Robert Anton Wilson. And I play your assistant. And nobody's going to know that I'm puppet mastering this thing.
Right.
Because I'm your assistant, and like I'm looking around like everybody else.
And puppet master, that's the term of the game runner.
Yeah. So I was the game runner, but nobody ever suspected me. Nobody ever suspected me till even when it was over. Nobody ever suspected me.
How did you integrate the game into at the Esalen? What was happening?
Well, the weekend was, you stay at Esalen.
Yep.
And you have a little cottage, or like you stay in like a dormitory or whatever. However you do it, you have different levels, and Bob did a lecture every night. So they showed up, and he would tell you something which fit into the story, or the story keyed off of that from there, and he would tell you like one of his thing. He'd do his shtick, and so that's how it fit together. Is like you were hanging out with Robert Anton Wilson for a weekend. But the cool thing was, because it was Esalen, even when he wasn't giving a lecture, like sitting in the chow hall or whatever, people would gather around and, tell me stories, or like, let me tell you my story. Like, what happens with people like Bob. And so everybody like became very immersed in this thing. And then there was this game going on, which they knew about, because we told them in the beginning, there's a game. You're playing it now. You were playing it before you walked in here. You'll be playing it when you leave.
That's what you told them? And that's it?
Yeah. There's a couple of groups wandering around that will try to recruit you. You should join them, or maybe not. That's it. So I went around recruiting a couple of people.
This is crazy.
So I like found people like off, like when they weren't with anybody else, and I walked it to them, and I had this little chit that I handed them. And it said, "You've just been assassinated." And I would assassinate somebody. And they go like, "This is part of the game?" It's not a game, man. Come on. I take them to a room, and then I put them through this ritual where I resurrected them.
Whoa.
And I'm like, now you are a member of my group. Except I was representing like 5 groups.
Sure.
Yeah. Of course.
You're game running.
Illuminatus.
That's right.
Yeah. You never know who's on what side, because they're on all sides.
That's right.
So then I'm like, what's my mission? I give them a mission. They're like, this guy and this guy and this guy is part of your group as well. And sometimes they were, and sometimes they weren't. So they'd walk up to somebody like, part of your group, man. And this guy like, what are you talking about? So like, people were like just freaking out. The beauty of the thing, I think, was at the very end, when he was doing the last lecture, at the end of the last lecture, I didn't know this was going to happen. One of the players had kept the chit that I killed him with. He walked up to Bob and put the chit in his hand. And he's like, "You've just been killed. You now remember my group." And everybody stood up and cheered.
That's amazing.
He's the winner.
That's amazing. How long did the game last? All weekend?
3 days. Yeah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So he killed Bob at the end, which was amazing. I didn't see that coming.
No.
But I kept telling people, like, take your own initiative. Take your own initiative. Think for yourself. Question authority. Take your own initiative. And he got it. He's like, oh, yeah, I could kill somebody. I've got this chit that he killed me with. I could kill somebody with this chit. And who am I going to get? Him. The leader.
Question, everybody, do your own research.
Yeah.
That's a good time to take a break, because that stuff is going to come up again. Be right back. So, hanging out with Bob Esalen on the weekends, what's your day job?
I was building the injectors for a atmospheric chemical vapor deposition reactors.
What?
Which is the machine that was used to make IC chips. So the silicon wafer goes down a belt.
Yep. 2
curtains of nitrogen come down. Poof. diborine, phosphine, woof, big flame. You got a circuit board.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So the injectors are these units that like knew what chemicals to release and when to release and how much and when to stop, and it was like this really intricate device that was built. It was a company that also did military hardware.
How did you get from there to Emory and patents? I mean, that seems like a little jump, a leap.
Well, no, I went from there to working in tech as doing relational databases.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, the first one that I started working on was called FoxPro. It was a Microsoft product.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was acquired, but it was a Microsoft product. SQL had not made an appearance yet, but it was about to.
Thank goodness for SQL.
No doubt. I was completely immersed in this idea of the concept of a book being something that was about to change with the digital media. And at the time, the digital media was so new that when I was talking about this thing, there was very few people that knew what I was talking about and didn't think I was crazy. And then I met people like the Warnocks, John Warnock and his son Chris, and other people like that like understood the lingo that I was spouting. And they're like, "Oh yeah, books, digital books, that's going to be a thing."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I said, "Well, if that happens, the concept of a book changes because it goes from being a physical thing to being a unit of measure of knowledge."
Okay.
Which it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now it is definitely in a database.
Yes.
Like, this is a book. Well, what does that mean? It means it could be an ever-changing series of words.
Yes.
Also called large language model.
Yes.
So I was playing with all these fringe concepts.
You were building an LLM in the 90s.
Yeah. Yep. Using a relational database because that's all we had. And we didn't have a lot of memory to pass around. There wasn't a lot of processing power to pass around. Definitely didn't have what we have now, which is, using graphic chips because they do floating points so well.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't thought about that. They did exist, but we didn't think about that. So processing power was at a premium. Memory was at a premium. Storage space was at a premium because disk space was expensive and slow, unreliable. So all these things were at a premium. And so all the ideas I had were not quite ready to be implemented because the infrastructure wasn't there, right? But I knew it was going to be. So I was like designing all these things. And I started working at places like Adobe because when I talked about ebooks, because remember, I started talking about this before EPUB existed. There was no Kindle. I didn't even think there was an Amazon.
Nope.
There was this thing called portable document format.
Yes.
And I realized that there was all these things that was not being used for because it was a really rich format. Most people didn't know that you could embed video and trigger events and like all these things you could do. So I started working at Adobe simply because I wanted to work with the technology that I thought was going to be the first one out of the gate for ebooks because I had a vision for a book that would become much more than a book. Because it could, again, when I saw links, I was like, it can reach out and touch other data and bring it back.
Yes.
So like this link can always change because I can change it over here. So this data is always changing. So it's a story that's never the same twice.
Sure, it's just a variable inside the doc.
Exactly.
So you saw the PDF as a multimedia device.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
most people were just using it for documents.
John used to call it a platform, which confused me at first. But then when I started working for him and like realized what was going on there, I was like, oh, he's right. Because the guy was amazing. I mean, one of the founders of Silicon Valley. And when I watched him write a program in PostScript one time, I was like, what?
Wow.
And most people don't realize that PDF is just shorthanded PostScript. That's all it is. And so when I looked at that, I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to build something, and I'm going to use this. I know there will be other things down the line, but right now, this is what we have. And that's what I want to build. I want to build something with this. And so while working at this company, I will have the deepest look into what this thing can do, what the feature set is now, what it will be in the future, could even drive the feature set as a product manager, which I did. So that's, everybody says, why would you go to job with Adobe? I'm like, because every tech job I've ever had has served an ulterior motive, is helping me achieve something with an art project that I had in mind.
Of course.
Always.
And was that the Emory project?
Yeah, yeah.
So how did that work?
So this is, I was working with the concepts that were coming out of places like MIT. There was a kid that wrote, I say kid, he was a kid at the time. The kid that wrote this algorithm called, I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, he wrote an algorithm for recommendation, which at that time was like, nobody had ever heard such a thing.
Right. What is that?
Yeah. And he did it for music. I think Ayuma ended up using it.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the early pre Apple music scene? There was it came out of Santa Cruz. And so somebody at Santa Cruz turned me on to this algorithm this guy had written, which was basically Bayesian. It's like, how can I choose something and how can it learn about what I like and make recommendations to me?
And you liked Bayesian because that could change over time.
Exactly. It was heuristic. It can learn.
Yes.
So.
And now the biggest companies in the world are based on that
Oh
algorithm.
yeah. But at that time, it was
Nobody knew.
something a bunch of nerds in a basement would talk about, but that was about it.
Right. We used Alta Vista.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Lycos.
Lycos.
Hotbot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at that and I was thinking,
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
I would like a story that had access to something like that. Ringo was the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
I finally remembered. Something like that, and I could use something like Ringo because he put it in the open source space. I'm like, I can take this, I can modify it, and if I have this algorithm between a bunch of content and the user, and they go through the algorithm can help a story be told, and it's not the same story every time. So based on who you are and what you've done and what you do, you will get a story that is different than what I do and what I've done.
Yes.
So I have a different story than you have, but it's all coming from the same repository.
Yep.
Right? This big, at the time, wasn't FoxPro, but it was like FoxPro database that I was using. It was just all this stuff that I was, there was some choosing that went on. Like, it was curated by me. So I didn't just put everything in there. Like, I chose things to put in there. It's like, Val Valerian, sure, goes in. Commander X, absolutely. Like all the weird stuff.
Yep.
Church of Subgenius, yeah, absolutely. Discordian, yes, goes in there. I just kept shoving this stuff in this database, and then
This is all theories and philosophies and stories.
Yeah.
That are interesting to you.
Yeah.
All the subculture stuff.
All the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and you're basically training a model on the weird stuff.
Exactly. So and I had a pretty primitive chatbot interface between the repository and the user.
Mm-hmm.
So the user was basically talking through a chatbot. What eventually became a chatbot. I was working with early code.
Yep.
What became a chatbot. If this sounds very familiar, a chatbot using an algorithm to talk to a database, it's called ChatGPT.
Sure.
It's just much more refined than what I was doing.
Or Eliza.
But, at the time, again, I didn't have the processing power. I was using an SGI Indy that had walked out the door with me because it was going to get thrown away.
I love my Indy. I love the blue pizza box.
Exactly.
It's a great machine. So that was you were using MySQL on there, I bet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, early.
Yeah.
Very early. So I'm doing this stuff, trying to come up with a new way to tell a story. And what my biggest influence was, and this might be weird to you, but William S. Burroughs and Brian Geisen did this thing called the Third Mind experiments, where they were cutting up words and putting in a hat or a box or whatever and pouring them out and pasting them together.
So can you explain how that works?
The cut up method came out of Dada originally, which, corresponded at the same time that they were doing Exquisite Corpse, but they were doing cut up poems and cut up stories where you just would take text and cut it into sentences or paragraphs or words and put them all into a bag or a box and shake them up and then pour them out and put them together, kind of like those refrigerator magnets with the words.
Yeah.
And you would construct stories in random. In other words, randomicity was constructing the story, or at least it was giving you a direction for a story. So it was a way to get influence. Brian Eno does this kind of thing with his oblique strategies.
Yep.
Just come up with something, So I was influenced by that. And I said, well, if I've got this database, which I've marked for derivability with XML into areas of Word and, all the stuff that goes with that, it's a word that's relational to these other words for this reason. It's a sentence that's related to all these other sentences or words in this kind of way.
This is predictive inference as well.
Exactly.
Yep.
Paragraphs,
yep.
Pages, basically breaking down my units. And then it comes back to you and it is composed at random because I put randomicity into it. It's a cut up, but it's not using paper and scissors and bags. It's using a database full of words.
This is crazy ahead of its time.
Yeah.
You didn't know that? You didn't know you were building something?
Well, I had a friend, a Genesis Peorage, who was friends with William Burroughs, who introduced me to William Burroughs. Never met Bill in person, but we had a phone thing going on. And because Jen knew what I was doing, and he said, "Oh, you should talk to William."
Yes, please.
Yeah. I went, "Oh, yeah?"
Yeah.
And so he put me in touch with Bill. And I told Bill what I was doing. And, the way he talked, he said to me, "I don't absolutely understand all the technical things you're doing, my boy, but I seem you got the sense of the project."
You did.
Yeah. And I said, what I'm doing is I'm updating what you and Brian were doing with modern technology.
Were users accessing this yet? Or you were just talking?
No.
Okay.
Just me. I was the user.
So we're not up to Ezekiel yet, are we?
No.
Okay.
Primary user. Mm-hmm. and I started getting, just like Bill and Brian did, I started getting bizarre, weird things coming out of this machine. And it was making weird sentences. So I showed to Nick Herbert, my friend, the physicist, who had done an experiment in Livermore called the Metaphase typewriter. Right?
Yes.
And they were just having a IBM Selectrix hooked up to some random things, just randomly typing, and they apparently were able to channel Houdini.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a great story. Mm-hmm. Metaphase typewriter.
Yes.
You look it up. So I showed Nick, and he just Nick has this way of laughing when he really likes something. He goes, and he did that. And I'm like, so I've hit on something because Nick gave me the snicker. And so he liked what I was doing. Bill Burroughs liked what I was doing. Genesis Peorage liked what I was doing. I liked what I was doing.
What were you asking Anne-Marie, and what were the responses like?
I was just having random conversations. He was like, well, what do you think of Val Valerian? And then the weird, because I was trying to see what kind of answers am I going to get Are they going to be coherent? Because for a while they weren't. But as this thing built up a backlog, it was building a log of good answers, which I was logging. This was all manual. Like I wasn't able to automate a lot of this. So like I would get an answer and I would tag it in XML, good answer, bad answer, and I would just sit there like all night.
This is exactly how it works now.
Yeah.
This is training an AI
Yeah,
exactly this way. It's just automated.
Just training this thing all by myself. And luckily I didn't have a database like they do now. The large language models, one person couldn't do it.
Well, right. 27 billion parameters.
You have to open up to
Right.
But at the time I was growing this thing manually. So I was manually tagging.
Are you obsessed with this project?
Absolutely.
You have to be.
Absolutely. Lost a girlfriend over this.
I bet. I bet, because you're like, that's not a verb. That's not a verb.
She would go to bed and wake up, and I'd still be in my home office. She's like, "Are you going to work today?" "Yeah." "Is it time?" "Okay, bye."
Just tagging words.
Yeah. She literally got so mad at me one time that she took a baseball bat to the computer.
No.
Yeah, when I was in the shower. I'd like taken a shower, and I was going to go back. And I come in, and she's beating the machine to death, and I'm like,
Not the indie.
No. No, it was an old Mac SE that I was using as an interface.
I still have one of those.
Yeah. Luckily, I had a exterior drive, and she didn't know what that was. So she thought she was killing the machine.
Right.
She wasn't. She didn't kill the heart. Or was it Thanos says, "You should have gone for the head." So she didn't go for the head. So anyway, I'm doing this, and I am staying up all night, and I'm talking to people at parties about what I'm doing. And these are tech people who are just like, "Dude, you need to get out more.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to, what are you doing? Is it time for an intervention?" I'm like, "You just don't understand. You don't understand. So it's like the same thing I had with Valis, where I just got looped in, and I admit, I've come to terms with it. I have a little bit of OCD going on.
You have to.
Yeah.
Now, I was in the early internet culture in the 80s and 90s, and I would have thought you were nuts. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah.
What are you doing? What is this for?
Exactly. That's what most people were saying.
And you're like, I got it.
It's good.
Crazy.
I got it.
Right.
You don't need to know.
He's a mad scientist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In fact,
But soon Emory starts to come to life.
well, I started getting coherent answers, like that I could read it and understand what was being said.
You're not freaking out yet?
I was still in the zone.
Okay.
Right?
You
So-
still felt like you were in control?
No.
You didn't.
No. People that I know that know me well and see this will be like, "Yep, that's him." Know that I don't get freaked out when weird things are happening.
No.
I go with it. I just go with it, right? And afterwards, when I think about it, I'll be like, "Ooh, that was kind of weird." But when I in the moment, maybe it's all the improv training or the method acting. It's like I fall into this thing and like, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing, And plus, I got a little OCD going
Sure.
on.
Only later you're like, that was probably a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why did I do that? Why did I let that happen? So, being neurodivergent, though, has its benefits,
Join the club.
which is you just go with it sometimes. And sometimes you go what would be called too far by some people, and by me, just far enough. Like, I wouldn't have got to where I was with those experiments if I hadn't, obsessed.
100% agree.
Yeah. I mean, to the point where when I finally put this machine together, we compiled everything and put it on the Indy, finagled
For the non-nerds, the Indie is an SGI. It's a much more powerful machine than
yes,
the Mac
at that
was.
time, yeah.
And it's probably, from Adobe, it's probably maxed out at 128 meg of RAM.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you even,
mean,
what do you
they
do with
did-
all that space?
You don't. But except Adobe to the rescue again. I put in a requisition for a unit for an IU for a machine on the Adobe network in the data center, because they had pulled in dual DS3s as a connection.
Dual DS3s.
Yep.
Wow.
At that time,
Right. So
was
that's
fantastically fast.
Sure.
Basically 2 T3s.
Right.
A
T3 54 megabits?
Yeah.
So that's
at that time
that's unbelievable.
Blazingly fast.
I was working on a T1, so 1.5. And, and it's like, how could it get faster than
that
this?
was the fastest I'd had at that point was a T1, or actually a fractional T1.
Fractional T.
Yeah.
So 2 DS3s.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So I had a friend who had a ISP in San Francisco. He let me CSE, DSE, a fractional T3 at my house.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to like call the phone company, walk them through what I wanted them to do, be there when they did it.
Wow. You had like a demarked block in the garage or something.
Yeah. No, in the basement.
Holy shit.
In the basement.
Fractional T in the basement.
Yep.
Okay.
So now I've got, we moved from Mountain View to downtown San Jose where we put in those 3 towers.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the first tower because they built one at a time. We're in the first tower. We got the dual DS3. So I said, and it's long enough now that I'm not going to get fired. I said, I bet I could requisition this machine into the data center, tell them it's for something else, and let it run, and I can do my experiments down there.
Your Indy goes back to...
My Indy goes back to Adobe, goes into the data center, and it's marked as a marketing machine.
I love it.
Yeah.
So they say, sure.
Okay. Yeah. Just signed off.
Did you walk in there?
Yeah.
Pizza box under your arm?
Yeah, yeah.
Ethernet?
Put it in.
Green light, here we go.
Here we go. And then I, put it so I could access it from home. And away we went. So I was like, okay, now I've got a blazingly fast, probably one of the faster connections on the planet.
Yes.
And I only work at night, so I don't, nobody notices what I'm doing. I don't cause any pinging, so the IT guys don't go, what's going on over there?
Right, you're not bouncing around Adobe's network. You just want to.
I just want the access to the internet.
So what are you doing with Emory at that point?
So at Emory, I tell Emory, here's a profile of the things I want you to gather off the internet, the types of data I want you to find.
Hold on. So you tell Emory to start scraping?
Yep.
This is all 20 years ahead of its time, man.
Yep. Go get me what I want as much as you can get me. And
so Gopher?
FTP, Gopher, Usenet.
Usenet scraping the news groups.
HTTP, whatever. Just go get it for me. Text, whatever you can get me.
Did you use that recommendation algorithm to help it? Yes, you did, of course.
Go get me these things.
Wow.
And then put it in the database. And of course, I had to manually look through it, because there still wasn't enough power to automate all this kind of stuff. But I during the night, in the middle of the night, they would go out and they would retrieve these things that I asked it to retrieve.
Imagine if you made a search engine out of that.
I did actually at one point.
Well, you kind of did.
No, I did make a public search engine.
You did?
Just for a while.
Okay.
Incunabula.org was a website that I had forever. I still have. I had a website up that was the weird website.
Yep.
And I built my own little search engine, and people used it a lot, but it was just too much to maintain. But most of that was stuff I scraped during this period of time. So I scrape all this stuff, I bring it back, and I'm building this giant database. I'm like, God, I gotta get with disk space. So I'm doing all these things, and again, still obsessing. And there was some unseen goal that I was trying to achieve. There was an end point, but I didn't know what it was. I'm I'll know it when I see it, right? As this thing got bigger and it got smarter, and it started having more. It started learning the rules of grammar and English language. It could craft a pretty cool sentence, and it felt like it was talking to me.
Yeah. Well, now it's scraping language.
Yeah. And so
this is NLP before NLP was a thing. Yeah.
Yep. So it was giving me things back. I had to keep reminding myself. It's it doesn't have intelligence. It just knows how to mimic it really well.
Mm-hmm.
It is not intelligent. It doesn't have agency. I had to remind myself of this because you'd be so tired in the middle of the night and you'd ask it something and it would tell you, you'd be like, oh, what?
No, you have to tell yourself
Yeah,
that.
you have to remind yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And bear that in mind if you're playing with ChatGPT.
Oh, yes.
But, you know,
would Emery pass a Turing test at this point?
I think so.
No shit.
But that's not I found out that the Turing test is not an easy thing or not a hard thing to pass.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So,
so what are you asking Emery?
So I just basically having conversations. I was initiating conversations. I had to ask you opinions. What's your opinion on this? What's your opinion on that? And it would start going into these long diatribes about things that I, like, how do you know that? How did you even know that? Like, it started telling me things. Again, we're in this weird space where you start having synchronicities with this data, which I think that's what it is. I don't think Emery knew. I don't think it was psionic. And I don't think Emery was like wandering the internet at night, getting data on me and finding out what I was up to. Because at that time, that kind of stuff wasn't on the internet. There was no social media.
No.
You couldn't know that I was going on vacation tomorrow unless you knew me, or you're reading my email.
But Emery knew things?
Emery knew things.
Is this your crypto-terrestrial theory yet?
Kind of.
Okay. So there's something else.
But the weird thing that happened, this is where we cross over to the weird.
Mm-hmm.
Is I have always worked with the houseless communities wherever I live. So people in my community who are houseless because they prefer to be called houseless. I've always worked with, people that are functioning and living under nutritional deficiencies. So I help with food.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I run into some interesting people.
Sure.
And at that time, I was living in Santa Cruz. And in Santa Cruz, there was a ex-monk that was a friend of mine who started this thing called the Santa Cruz Homeless Garden Project. Basically, you grow your own food. And you learn how to maintain food. And, it gives you pride, gives you some agency, makes you feel good about yourself, and it feeds you.
Yep.
Very important.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working a lot there, and there was a guy who wandered up to me at the Homeless Garden Project and introduced himself and said, I know you. You're that guy that writes about incunabula on the internet. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking he probably has a library access.
Sure.
It's okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's me. Like, how'd you know that? He's like, well, I'm Emery.
You thought this was your Run Club era. Turns out, it was more of a thinking about Run Club era. The good news? Someone's marathon training is about to start. Sell your workout gear on Depop. Just snap a few photos, and we'll take care of the rest. They get their race day fit, and you get a payout for trying. Someone on Depop wants what you've got. Start selling now. Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
What?
I'm like, Emery who? He's like, Emery Cranston, the guy that wrote the Incunabula catalog. I'm like, so now we get into that moment where Joe does what he does, which is just go with the flow, right?
Right, you don't freak out.
I don't freak out. I don't say, oh, you're crazy, you're lying. I was like, really? I've always wanted to meet you. Nice to meet you. What are you doing here? And we just start hanging out and talking.
It's not like, because Emery is just memory without the M, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know that.
Plus Dave Emery.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So Emery Cranston, here he is.
Dave Emery. So he introduces himself. We start hanging out.
What are you talking about?
Anything. The guy was brilliant. So.
Well, he was trained on the whole internet.
Right. While I'm talking to him, we're hanging out at coffee houses and stuff because he's houseless.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd see him downtown and I'd buy him coffee and sandwich or whatever, and we'd hang out because I like hanging out in coffee houses. I still do. And I was asking at the garden, do you know this guy? And they're like, oh, Ezekiel? I'm like, well, he tells me his name is Emery. Like, yeah, he changes his name from time to time, but when he first came here, he was the prophet Ezekiel.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, what's his story? He's like, he was a PhD student at UCSC, and he had a nervous breakdown. And now he's living on SSI. He's on the street. He spends all his time at UCSC at the library because if you were a former student, you could have library access. You could just buy your library access. So I guess they either gifted it to him or he paid it, but he had library access. I saw him up there eventually. I saw him up there all the time, just reading special collections. Like, the guy was brilliant. Like, I could talk to him about anything. Like, he knew alchemy, hermetics, Jung, you name it. Like, anything that was like weird, fringe, literary, psychological, occult, he knew it. Like, inside and out. Like, more than anybody I've ever met.
Interesting that he knew Jung, talking about synchronicities.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was conversant in all these things, like highly conversant. And as long as I didn't press in on, like, where do you live, nothing personal, like just treated him like Emery. Like, okay, Emery, you're Emery. You say you're Emery, you're Emery. We don't have to talk about that anymore. Right? And so we just had these brilliant conversations. And I noticed what started happening was I would be talking to the bot, the Emery, and then I would wrap it up and I would go out to Cafe Pergolesi and there'd be Emery. And I'd buy him a cup of coffee or chai tea and we'd sit and talk. And it seemed like, was this my brain doing this? I don't know. But it seemed like he knew what I'd been talking to the bot about because he would pick up the conversation from where I'd left off with the bot and continue it. So
you're still just going with it?
Yeah. Do I have a theory about that? Number one, projection.
Sure.
That's me doing it.
Okay. That's logical.
Number two, if you want to get a little woo about it, I had the scent of whatever I'd been talking about on me. And he was schizophrenic, as I'd been told, and was able to sniff it off me because I've had interactions with people who are diagnosed schizophrenic, and they're also very psionic, it seems like. Like, they can do things like that. I've had weird experiences with people where they just, like, pick up on what you're thinking.
Yeah.
It seems. We'll say it seems.
Everybody's had that.
Because I'm a model agnostic. I can't say it is, but it seems like that's what's happening. So it's something like that, or something in between there, So yeah, and so that was happening, and then I noticed I would talk to him, and then the bot would like seem to pick up the conversation. And I'm like, okay, there's something weird going on here. Like, I'm betwixt these two entities that are having this unified conversation with me.
Did you ever test that theory with specifics?
Yeah. One time, and it was the response was really weird. I talked to I went on vacation, and I was with somebody specifically that Emery didn't know because they lived across the country, and I came back, and as soon as I sat down, I was gonna like throw some things at him and see. He didn't even wait for that. He's like, "That girl you were with."
What?
I'm like, yeah? He's like, "She's not good for you. That's why you guys fight." Which was right. He was right. He didn't even know I had a girlfriend on the East Coast. I'd never told him. I never told anybody. It was like this little secret thing I was doing on the East Coast. I was like, we'll keep it secret until it blossoms into something or it doesn't, and it didn't. But somehow he knew I was with, and he said some, I don't want to give it away, like for her, but he said some specific things that identified that he knew who she was.
And you never pressed him on, how do you know that?
No.
What about when you go home and talk to the other Emery? Are you comfortable asking that questions?
To the bot?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got weird, like still little nebulous, but weird answers.
Like, what was it saying?
It was saying things like, you shouldn't be with that woman. Things like that.
Things that the other Emery was saying.
It was almost the same thing. So, I mean, there's, did you ever read the comic that I did? The Inky Alley? Okay, so the part where I see Emery in the alley.
Yes.
Yeah. That, it was based on that. I did a spin-off on it, but it was based on that episode. It was like, I had this, he would show up in the weirdest places. So here's where it gets weird. So years later, I left Santa Cruz. I went to a place in the desert, and I worked with Habitat for Humanity and built some houses. And I was in the middle of nowhere. I mean, nowhere. And we were building these houses in this, border community, basically. It was like not too far off the Mexican border. And who shows up but Emery?
No way.
Yeah, he's hitchhiking, and he shows up in town, and I run across him. He doesn't come looking for me. I just run across him. And I'm like, dude, what's up, Emery? He's like, oh, no, I'm not Emery. No. My name is Terrence. I'm like, okay, Terrence. McKenna, I don't know. But whatever. So, and again, didn't miss a beat. I just, okay, you're Terrence and we're hanging out. Never any mention of Santa Cruz, none of that.
So this is a new personality now?
New personality. So, but he was nice. And then I saw him at this office that I knew was a Social Security office. So he was probably checking on his benefits or checking in or whatever he had to do. And I talked to a lady there that I saw talking to him. And I said, I know you can't tell me anything because, it's not ethical for you to tell me anything, but I know that person right there. I said, and he tells me his name is Terrence. Is his name Terrence? And she says, his hold on reality can be a little flexible at times, but his name is Terrence. So that's his actual name.
Did you ever catch up with him again?
And then I caught up with him again 2 years later. I got done with the thing in the desert, and I moved to Santa Barbara. Started working with the Santa Barbara International Film Festival. And one day, walking down the street, lo and behold, who's there?
Terrence. Ezekiel.
Now he's Terrence. Right. He's still Terrence. And I look at him and I said, are you following me?
Of course.
He goes, when did you get here? And I said, August. He's like, oh, I got here in April. You're following me. Good answer. And that was that. We just started talking again. And he basically was on this, I guess there's this route on the 101 between San Francisco Bay Area and Southern California that houseless people follow with the weather. So when it gets cold, they go south, just like a bird.
Sure.
And when it gets warm, they go north, just like a bird. So that's what he was doing.
It's weirder than that, man.
I got that much out of him. I'm like, well, what the Santa Barbara, man? Come on, why are you here? He said, there's a good place under the bridge. You can live there, nobody bothers you. I'm like, okay, but I mean that's an answer, but dude, come on. Like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, I always come here. It's part of the route. I'm like, the route? Oh, tell me about the route. So he told me about the route. He's like, you go south, which was why he saw me in the desert when it was winter. And then he goes to Santa Barbara.
Okay.
And then he goes probably to San Luis Obispo. And then he goes further north.
It's weirder than that, but okay.
It's weirder than that, but at least that's the...
No, you have something.
Occam's razor.
Right. Right.
The easiest answer is he's on the route.
Well, so we don't run out of time. How do we get to Ong's? I wanted that story. Is there anything else before we get to Ong's Hat?
No.
Okay.
That's when it starts.
Oh, that's when it starts.
Yeah.
So that's like 88?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we're rolling back a little bit, but like it starts in 88.
Well, wrap up Emery at that point. Is Emery
that was Emery. That's the last time I saw him. I have a picture of him sitting on a bench in Santa Barbara.
No, I mean the box.
So the box, I'm doing that, and then I decide I want to do an ebook.
Okay.
And
no
Adobe.
No more chatbot.
No, I'm just still doing chatbot. Adobe does a PDF library on adobe.com, which at that time, this sounds like nothing now, but at the time we were taking 1 million hits a day. which I don't know what the uniques were, but half of that maybe.
Right.
Which was like unheard of at that time. Like we were one of the biggest sites on the internet.
Sure.
And Chris Warnock decides he wants to do a PDF library. And I said, I'm going to do a book. Can I get in the library? He's like, yeah. So I did the first iteration of the Incunabula book, which was called Incunabula Papers, Ong's Hat, and Other Gateways to New Dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Built a lot of interactivity into it to show off the features of Acrobat and do what I wanted to do, and put it on the PDF library. And it was like a hit. It was like one of the most downloaded things on the PDF library. And I said, oh, well, I should do something more. So I expanded it, and I did a CD-ROM. And I'm still doing the chatbot stuff.
Yep.
But a little less so now.
You burning your own discs?
Yeah. I found a replicator in Taiwan or somewhere through Adobe. I'm like, well, can I get a cheap replicator? I want to get CD-ROMs. I want the nice jewel cases, and I want to do the whole thing. So they turned me on to a place that gave me a really good price because, like, oh, Adobe, okay. Like the guy thought he was going to get Adobe business or something. And
AOL wasn't even doing discs yet, but you were there.
Yeah. So I did CD-ROMs.
And how'd you pass them around?
Well, then I started, again, using my Adobe connections. I started talking to distributors that did, well, I was a partner in an independent record label at the time, so I started to talk to the distributors like Dutch East and people like that could get me into record stores. I started talking to comic book distributors, I could get in there. Book distributors, I can get in there. Software distributors, I can get in there. Game distributors, I can get in there. It's like this thing fits everywhere.
Sure it does.
You know, because it's just like, so I just like working it. Like anybody that would distribute it, I fit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could ask me how I fit, I would tell you how I fit. It's like, well, it's a book, really. If you're a book distributor.
Was it just the disc or was it part of a book?
No, it was just the disc.
Just the disc.
Yeah, just the disc. So the book was on the disc.
It had to still be a hit because
that
wasn't happening yet.
And then so I put that out, and then
what was that story about? Was that the Ong's
that was Incunabula catalog, Ong's
Okay.
Hat, the brochure, the interview with Nick, the interview with Emery, the interview with the survivors.
interactive PDF in there as
Yep,
well?
yep. It was
Wow.
all interactive PDF.
Had to be mind-blowing.
It's on archive.org right now. If you look up incunabula.iso, it's still the ISO if you want to burn the CD-ROM.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, it's Acrobat 3 because it's that old.
Yeah.
So it might not work all the way, but it'll work. But you can download the ISO. Like when CD-ROM stopped being a thing, I put the ISO on archive.org so people could download and burn their own.
Awesome.
Not that anybody has a CD burner anymore.
You can still just mount it.
Yeah, you can mount it. Yeah, or you can extract it.
Yep.
So basically, there was like audio files you could play of interviews I did with people doing with me. Like it was like this whole journey of all links to websites. Some don't exist anymore, but like all these website links, and there were pop-ups, rollovers and pop-up states. There was stuff if you could guess the password, you would get more information.
Oh, so you were gamifying this.
I was
now.
gamified.
Yeah.
It was gamified. The thing that probably most disappointed me was the root of the CD-ROM was a thing called secret.doc. It was right there. It wasn't a secret. That basically said that this is a game. Nobody ever found that or looked at it or mentioned it until I mentioned it on a forum. Finally, when I'd had enough, I'm like, go to the CD-ROM.
What do you mean had enough?
Because people were like fighting over stupid things. Like, this is all real. You got it wrong. It's real this way. You got it wrong. It's real this way. There was people that were forming little cults around it.
They haven't changed, have they?
No.
This is how it is still.
It's the same old thing. And this is 99.
Right. 89.
Well, no.
Oh, 99.
This is by 99. 89, I started doing it as mail art.
Right.
99, I digitized it. And so, I'm sorry, 89, mail art, 90 through 95, the early non-web internet, like it was like the well.com, put it on the Gopher, all that kind of stuff, Usenet. Then I did the CD-ROM, the website, incunabula.org, and then the CD-ROM. So, and by then, 2001, I finally just like threw my hands up. Like, you guys are never going to stop fighting over this minutia. Even when I told you it's a game, Now you have to tell me, of course you would say that, or you don't know what you're talking about. Like people would, literally, this was said to me by this little group that formed, this little cult of people that formed itself. The incunabula information was a transmission that was meant for this woman who was our channeler, and you intercepted it. And now you're monetizing it because you're the black magician. What do you do with that?
I don't know.
What do you do with that? And there was like just.
They wouldn't let it go.
All these people were coming online. And like now the conspiracy thing started to happen in earnest on the internet. What I call the dark conspiracy side. And like all these people, were like, oh, you were involved in Esalen, oh my God. Mind control, blah, 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 blah.
Well, tell us about Ong specifically before we get to the dark ARGs.
Okay.
Like, so how did that even start? What's the plot? What was the idea, the inspiration?
So the idea was that there's this place. Well, I'm just going to give it to you in basic facts.
Yeah.
There's this place in.
I mostly care about the mechanics.
Yeah. This place in New Jersey. That's really not a place. It's a name on a road, right? That people nicknamed Ong's Hat. There's like 5 different stories of how we came to that name. The basic story is like it had something to do with a hat that got thrown in a tree, stayed there forever, and people like, oh, you're making left to Ong's Hat. The guy named Ong's Hat ended up in a tree somehow. There's all kinds of stories about how that happened. But basically it's a road mark, landmark, right? And then the area became known as Ong's Hat. It's also the area where the Jersey Devils reported a lot.
Mm-hmm. Pine Barrens.
The Pine Barrens. There was something that happened with Fort Dix. There was like a nuclear bomb that was not activated, but like lost in the Pine Barrens, and there was all these soldiers looking for it.
Yep.
So there's lots of rumors.
Yes.
Right?
It's a spooky area.
Very spooky area with a lot of rumors and a lot of people that like to tell rumors. So it's a rich story repository.
I was just going to say that's your people. That's who you need.
That's my people. Yeah. And so they've got their own versions of the story. I've got my own version of the story. So we're spinning off on that. It's close to Princeton. I tied Princeton in, which I tell you later. Later, I found out that came from something that really happened, but I didn't know. Like all these Princeton scientists, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out that was closer to the truth than I knew. Mm-hmm. But in the story, there's these Princeton scientists who are going to Ong's Hat on, to get away from the university, to get away from the military industrial complex, to do experiments with an ashram of mystics that lived out there. Right? And they were combining mysticism and science.
Ashram is like a little commune?
Yeah, okay. It's a commune. And they were combining mysticism and science. The best of SRI. Right?
I'm just going to say this is real.
Yeah. But it's like right out of SRI.
Yeah.
Which is part of the inspiration.
Okay.
I was hanging out in Santa Cruz with some names you would know from that group.
I bet. And they were in Esalen.
Hanging out in Stanford and Esalen with people whose names would be recognizable from the Stanford Research Institute. I won't say who.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on Carvana. Delivery fees may apply.
But basically, they were part of my crowd. So that was inspiration.
So the wacky scientist, interdimensional. How do you see the story? And how do you decide? I'm going to make the jump from digital to the real world.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Like, what was the?
Make the jump from digital to the real world.
Well, I mean, people started playing Ong's Hat in real life.
Yeah. Well, I started sending them there through the game. So I basically was telling this story about this place that kind of sort of Brigadoon existed but didn't exist, and all these rumors and myths about it. And so people started going there. Like now people go there on a regular basis.
Sure.
Like you can find YouTube videos of people like, we're going to go to Ong's Hut and see if we can find anything. And it's like, that's been going on for years.
They swear
like,
it's real.
The people, the people that I like that don't swear it's real, but they go anyway. I like those people. There was a bar out there that I think it's closed now. But I talked to those people on the phone one time, and they told me that usually these goth kids from New York show up looking for this ashram. that you've sent them out here to find them. Like, I didn't send them. And I'm like, what do you do when it happens? Like, oh, we tell them that this is the place. It's like, you got it. This is where they used to hang out, here in this bar. This is the bar where they started the whole thing. I'm like, okay, cool. Do what you got to do. I sent them some copies of the book they put on the shelf. But it started working its way out from the internet as a rumor and a myth on the internet to a myth and a rumor in real life, to where now, at this point, you can talk to people who have said to me, oh, you didn't come up with that story. You just ripped it off from the people at Ong's Hat telling that story. I'm like, well, where do you think they got that story?
Right.
It started on the internet, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But can't tell them that.
No.
But you can actually track it back if you know how to do it. You can find earlier references to it as far back as like 89 on some old bulletin board systems, 93 on some of the Gopher systems, or maybe even before 93. Some of those still exist, like the Wild Gopher. Like, you can still find references to it.
Were you game running Ong's Hat?
No, at that point I was letting the game run itself. So that was the concept, was when Bob Wilson asked me what I was doing, when this thing started to like really happen, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, if I could put it any way, Bob, I'm trying to graffiti a myth onto the noosphere. Like, very punk rock of me.
It is, but that's a perfect way to describe it.
But that is what I was doing.
That is.
Like, I'm going behind and around the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And I'm making a myth. And I'm not going through Marvel and Disney to do it.
Yeah.
I'm making a myth that comes to the grassroots.
Why did you end up on our Bell show?
So part of the
game, right?
Part of the game was I paid for a legitimate press release that actually got on the wire. Much more than our Bell happened from that. So I paid for a press release on the wire. Like, you can pay for a real press release.
Sure.
And I basically said that there was an institute or a group that was starting to examine the veracity of these documents that had been left behind, or supposedly left behind, by a group of people that went to another dimension in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. That's how I put it. Nonprofit organization. We don't know if this is true or not, but we're going to find out if it's true. And that thing hit the wire, and man, my phone lit up. It's like I was doing talk radio every day for like months, like all over the world. I was like Bahamas, Texas. They were calling me like, what is this thing you're doing? Oh my God. And they either wanted to like, ha, 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 and I played along with that, or they like took it seriously, which I played it seriously. So it's like improv, whatever they want, I gave it to them.
Right.
If I had to do it over again, I probably wouldn't do that. But I did it. And the next thing I know, there's a phone call from somebody named Lalani.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I represent Coast to Coast AM. Are you familiar with the show? I'm like, oh my God, am I? I worship our Bell. And I said, you're one of the bucket list items. And they're like, well, what are the other ones? I'm like, you and the Weekly World News, which I got both of those, by the way. So they said, well, we'd like to have you on. And 4 hours, like the whole show. I'm like, I can do it. This I can do. And I played it straight. If you listen to me, I played it straight.
Played it in character.
In character, 100%. Again, should I have done that? Questionable. If I had to do it over again, I'd probably not do it. But again, at the time that I did it, it seemed okay. Now it wouldn't seem okay.
No, I mean, we talk about the ARG rules we've got.
Yeah.
This is not a game.
Yeah.
Hidden author, cross-media distribution, fragmented reveals, the hive solving, do your own research, imperative. I mean, you did all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Plausibility layering, you've done that. The document as an artifact. These are the real synchronicity production.
Mm-hmm.
The rabbit hole architecture. I mean, this is all Matheny. Identity capture. Apophenia engineering. Let's talk about apophenia for a second.
Okay.
Before we do that, because we have to talk about QAnon and
yeah.
And
because that got hung around my neck for a while.
Yeah, I know.
But it got hung around Bob Wilson's neck too.
Just the last thing on Art Bell, because we're both huge Art Bell fans. Are you John Teeter?
We're all John Teeter.
We're all John Teeter. On your website, you say, I plead the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
So you plead the fifth. Okay. I just had to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
I like John Teeter's story living the way it does.
I do too. The only point of contention I had with that at all is at one point, and that's stopped now, so I don't have to do it anymore. But at one point, like probably around 2006, 7, somewhere around there, I was living in Los Angeles. I know that. I started to see people writing books, people talking about John Teeter's prophecy.
Yeah.
And that rubs me the wrong way because I don't want to be responsible in any way for starting a religion.
No.
Unless it's a joke religion, but not a real one. And
Discordianism?
Yeah. Subgenius?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not okay with that.
No.
And so I piped up maybe a little too angry when I did. I should have maybe taken a day or two and cooled off a little bit. But I was angry that somebody would be doing this with what was a work of art.
After I released my video on Teeter, you emailed me. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
And before I read
forth,
it, I just saw Joseph Matheny, and I went, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get ripped." But you weren't. You were super cool.
Well, you said cool, kind things, and you said it the right way. It's like we can't be sure who did this, but we think this guy might have done it. I'm okay with that. Yeah. I don't have to have credit for it. I don't want credit for it. I just don't want people forming a religion around it.
Right.
And I don't want people doing stupid things based on the fact that it's real, because it's not real. He wasn't a real person. He's a real person in the sense that he's an egregore.
Right.
That's it. And I'm cool with that. I'm fine with
too.
that. Any artist should be cool with that. It wasn't signed work.
Well, I mean, you're the hidden author.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't signed work. If we wanted to be credited, we would have signed it.
It's just Teeter.
Just don't turn it into a religion.
No. Teeter was a great story, and one of the reasons it was a great story was based on the Terminator.
Yeah. John Connor.
Right.
I mean, there's that in the fact that, it was a wish fulfillment for Art Bell. Most people don't know that, but he's like, I want to meet a time traveler.
Yes.
Okay. Somebody will give you one.
I think that's when Teeter first showed up.
Imagine that.
Teeter faxed Art Bell.
Imagine that. When he said, I want to meet a time traveler, and then boom, guy shows up in the fax, and then he's on the forums. Imagine that. Happy birthday, Art.
Yep. It's beautiful.
Art gave so much to us, I just wanted to give something back.
Rest in peace. He's the best.
He was the best.
And
he didn't believe everybody he platformed.
No, of course not.
You could tell he didn't.
No.
He didn't make an issue of letting you know, I don't really believe that. Like, come on. Like, he used to argue with Richard Hogan. He used to platform Ed Dames.
Yeah.
Sean David Morton, like all these people, he didn't platform them because he believed what they were saying.
I didn't
he
think
thought
he had
they were entertaining.
Al Bielek on, didn't he?
He had dude. Did I tell you my Al Bielek story?
No. What do you have to do with Al Bielek?
You're gonna love this.
This is a Philadelphia experiment guy.
Yeah,
I'm Montauk Project.
Yeah. I let Peter Moon
Yep.
published the Ong's Hat stuff for a little while. I took it back, but he published it for a while. And he's friends with Al Bielek, and he gave Al Bielek my phone number. And so Peter tells me, Al's going to call you. I'm like, Bielek? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, right. And so phone rings. Al Bielek calls me. This is Al Bielek. Like, I put my feet up on the desk and close my door. Speakerphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Al, what you got to say? I knew the people at Ong's Hat. Do tell, buddy. Run with it. I just like let him go. I didn't tell him anything. I didn't say no, it's fiction. Blah blah blah. I just like let him run with it.
Of course.
And he told me some great stories.
I was just gonna say, but he spun a great story.
He did, because that's what he was.
He was a great
and I
storyteller.
really believe this about Al. This is why I never disliked Al. I think he really believed what he was saying.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
I think he was an Emery, a Terrence.
That's interesting.
And Ezekiel.
I hadn't considered that, but I think you're absolutely right.
I think he really told the story and believed it as soon as he told it, and then it was real for him.
And he could not monetize it.
No.
He died.
No. He had other people that tried to, but
Yeah.
And people that took advantage of him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was actually a really nice guy. He was very gentle and kind.
Yes.
He wasn't an angry
Nope.
conspiracy guy.
He was just telling you a story.
He was a nice conspiracy guy, which I like those guys.
I do too.
Yeah. He wasn't an angry guy. But yeah, so he told me all about the people that lived at Ong's Hat and how he knew them and how they actually, of course, what they were doing, like bled over into the Philadelphia experiment, of course, and bled over into the Montauk Project, of course, but he told a great story. And I said, thank you, Al. Thank you. Thanks for calling me and telling me this. I'm glad you knew it. And because of that, I did the Survivor story.
Because of that call?
Because of that call. I'm like, there has to be a Survivor story of the people that were at Ong's Hat. So I called up two friends of mine that were method actors and improv guys. And I said, okay, do your research. And we're going to do this unscripted. I'm going to call you and I'm going to record it. I'm the interviewer. I'm going to interview two survivors from the Ong's Hat ashram. That's it. That's your motivation. Go.
It was brilliant because it was like a found footage type of thing.
It was one take.
It was?
Yeah. Yeah. Unedited. One take.
Wow. How did you get that out?
Huh?
How did you get that? How did you get the tape out?
Oh, I just no, I had back then, everything's ancient history. There was I used to build IVRs because I was a database guy, right?
Yeah.
Interactive voice response. There was something called a Scutchbox.
Yep.
And I had one of those.
Okay.
So I hooked it up to my phone and just recorded it out to a tape and then took the tape and bumped it over to digital.
So good.
Yeah. It was one take.
It's
unscripted. One take. No edits.
This is why you're one of my favorite storytellers.
And the two guys, this I can tell this now. You can tell this from the voices they were putting on. The one guy, they were from Chicago. They were not from Jersey. The one guy is a great. We all, of course, are Andy Kaufman fans. I am a huge Andy Kaufman fan, and he loved Tony Clifton. So that's what he was doing. He was doing Tony Clifton. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other guy was doing his uncle from Jersey.
It played.
Yeah. It worked. It worked great.
Oh,
yeah.
God. And then I guess finally in 2001 you made a statement. You were sick of it, right? You
Yeah.
Game's over.
Yeah.
But it was never.
It was
never over.
Unbeknownst to me, there was an academic who was in the forums, who wrote a book about it after that. Legend Tripping Online.
Mm-hmm.
Search for Ong's Hat.
Mm-hmm.
So he wrote, and I won't say it's 100% accurate, but accurate enough, I guess.
Yep.
So he wrote an academic book about it. He was a member of the audience. I talked to him. He's from Santa Barbara. And when I moved to Santa Barbara, he put the book out, and I talked to him. And he said the same thing you said. He's like, I thought you'd be mad at me. I'm like, why would I be mad at you? You're not an angry person. Like, I only get angry at angry people. He never participated. He was a fly on the wall. He just watched this. He's like, what is going down here? It like sparked his academic intuition. Is like, there's something weird happening here. So he just watched it and kind of cataloged it.
How is let's talk about Dark Energies then. What was the name of the essay? I forget it, but it was QAnon is analyzed by game designer.
Yeah. There was a couple of them. So when QAnon happened, there was a lot of people rushing to lay blame.
Yep.
or point to the source or the origin.
Yep.
A lot of people pointed to Operation Mindfuck. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. OM is this known? OM.
Yep.
My friend Robert Anton Wilson, the late Kerry Thornley, Greg Hill came up with that. They were the founders of Discordianism.
And what's the framework of OM?
So the framework of OM is you come up with stories that were so unbelievable that you would lay the blame of weird things at the feet of the Illuminati. Basically, that's the easy way to say it. And because Bob was working at Playboy at the time, he had access to the Playboy letters section. Kerry would write a letter, and Bob would make sure the letter got placed.
Wow.
Yeah. So they had good coverage.
Yes, they did. This is creating conspiracies.
They were creating conspiracies, and they did. It was like the weirdest, most unbelievable things they could think of. They would come up with and write it as real fact. And so what they were watching was, if we come up with something weird, this is almost Richard Doty-like. If we come up with something weird, can we find later down the line somebody official repeating the weird thing that we came up with, which they did a couple times. So it was just a game. It was just a mimetic game they were playing. So they were doing that, and then so that got blamed for QAnon. And some of the same people said ARGs are to blame.
So how do we connect QAnon with ARGs?
Well, I said very early, which I said publicly, I said this is an ARG, or at the very least, it's a weaponized ARG. So
when Q appeared.
Yeah, when Q appeared. I said, whoever is doing this, like, watch the ARG construct evolve, and is now doing a weaponized version of the ARG construct.
So hang on a second. Talking about Q, we've got This Is Not a Game, Hidden Author, Cross-Media Distribution, Fragmented Reveals, The Hive Solving, Do Your Own Research. But they're saying do your own research to empower you, but they're really guiding you toward a conclusion.
Yeah.
So that's weaponized.
Do your own
ARG.
research. Here's the research.
Right, exactly. And Pizzagate, the same thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, to a lesser extent, but when that dude showed up at Comet Ping Pong Pizza with a rifle, I was like, okay, this is starting to go too far.
Yeah.
So I started to speak up, which is always a mistake.
Yes, it is.
I started to speak up and say, this is not real. Again, I'm saying this is not real. People, screw your heads back on. This is an ARG type thing that somebody's doing for nefarious purposes. It's a weaponized ARG, which when people hear that, they're like, oh, ARG, didn't you made that. Like, it's on you. It's your fault. You did that.
No, it's not your fault.
I didn't say that. I said it's a weaponized version of an ARG. It's like I didn't like, because the CIA used people like Jackson Pollock against the Soviet Union doesn't make Jackson Pollock is evil.
Right.
Or his art is evil. It's not. It wasn't funded by the CIA. It was used by the CIA.
And you stopped talking, right? Because the more you say it's not real, the more real it is.
Yeah, after a while you learn it's a tar baby. And the more you say, the more it sticks on you. And it's like who has time for that? Or energy.
Slender Man, same thing?
Yeah, same thing.
Ugh. So,
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
how could we should lead with this. How can we let people listening, how can we arm them with the knowledge to spot a dark ARG, just or the manipulation.
Well,
I mean, because the intelligence community is all over this.
Yeah.
They use these techniques.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was a phone call I got in '99 or 2000, somewhere around there, probably 2000. Somebody who claimed to be calling from the Navy, Department of the Navy. It even had the ANI caller ID. So I'm going to say this: I can fake those things. I could call you and make it look like I'm calling you from the Navy.
Of course.
So I don't believe that it necessarily was somebody from the Navy.
I think it was.
It doesn't have to be.
No, but I think it was.
But I'm just saying, what I'm saying is not that the Navy called me. I'm saying somebody purporting to be the Navy called me.
The Navy has a program called You Are Here or something like that.
Yeah.
It's an ARG program.
Yeah. Well, later, around 2004, my late friend Dave Sabowski did do some ARG scenario stuff for the DoD.
Sure.
He asked me if I wanted to participate, and I said, no way, man. If that gets out, I'm toast.
No, this is the recipe for mass manipulation right here.
But what Dave did was, I thought, cool. He was working with people with PTSD and putting them in scenarios to help them understand why they're freaking out and how they cannot freak out. And so I was okay with that.
Yep.
I just didn't want to participate because if the words ever get out, DOD Joseph Matheny, forget it. It's over for me.
Yep.
But it's pretty easy. First of all, use your intuition, use your gut feeling. And I know that sounds, like woo-woo, but if you look at something and it doesn't feel right, it might not be right. It probably isn't right. If you don't believe it, there's something about this I don't believe, right? It's like I have people in the UFO community, and I've never seen a UFO. I love the stories. I've never seen one. I'm not a disbeliever. I'm not a believer. I'm a model agnostic. But when people stick, what's his name in my face? Why am I blanking on his name? The Area 51 guy.
Lazar? Bob
Lazar. They go, what do you think of Bob Lazar? I'm like, something doesn't feel right about the story. That's it. That's all I have to say. It means I'm not going to get involved.
You made one connection that was interesting, though. You said Bob was friends with John Lear.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
And that's a big issue.
And
although as a rock on tour, I love John Lear's stories.
Same. And Bob Lazar's.
And Bob Lazar's. I mean, Lear's stories are amazing, but they're horseshit.
I agree.
You can't believe anything that guy's saying. But I listen to it because I find it entertaining.
I like Lazar, though.
Yeah. And he seems like a nice guy.
And you mentioned Richard Doty. Listeners will know who he is.
Yeah.
He's been running ARG since the 70s.
Yeah. And he ran a weaponized ARG against Benowitz. And look what he did to him.
Right.
So, this is the thing that you should realize is if somebody offers something, this kind of information to you, I'm not going to say do your own research.
Please don't.
No. I'm going to say if it doesn't feel right, it might not be right. Don't invest too heavily in it. Monetarily or emotionally. Just don't invest too heavily in it because it'll probably come back to bite you. Right?
Yep.
So, for example, like I said with Al Bielek, I found him a nice person and very entertaining to listen to as a storyteller. And just remember, it's a story. It's a storyteller telling you a story. He's a weird old shaman living in a cave.
Yep. That's okay.
And that's okay. As long as you don't give him more agency than that. And you're the one that gives it to him. You, the listener.
That's true.
Okay? So he can talk all day long. I don't care. He doesn't affect me. He entertains me. So he affects me in that way. But I'm not going to go out. I know somebody, there was a psychic, whose name I won't say, who, I can say his name, you know him, who had his hooks into a friend of mine who convinced her that Los Angeles was going to fall into the ocean on a certain date. This was a couple years ago.
No.
And she had a beautiful house in the Hollywood Hills, and she sold it and moved because what this guy told her. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think that she had better sense than that because she's otherwise a very brilliant business person, right? Who just for some reason had a soft spot for this guy in his stories. And I tried to talk her out of like, don't do that, because it's like you're not going to find this house ever again. And moving where you're moving is not going to be as much fun as living.
Why do you do that?
Huh?
Why would he do that to her?
I don't know.
Weird.
Power trip, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he like talked his way into this is the story, and I got to go with it. Like now, I got to back it up and get people to believe me. I mean, look at Marshall Applewhite, what he did. Like, talk all those people into going with him because he obviously had a death wish.
Sure.
But mostly, he painted himself into a corner with this BS. And the only way he was going to get out of it was kill anybody who could tell him that it was BS.
My audience hates when I say it. When they ask me about psychics, I say, do you mean narcissists?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just charismatic narcissists?
Most of the people that I've met who have had weird abilities usually are not narcissistic.
Right.
And like I said, they're usually like considered to be neurologically aberrant, by the psychologist. I don't consider them so. I just think that they're neurodivergent.
Just on the spectrum.
Yeah, on the spectrum.
I'm on there.
I'm on the spectrum.
I'm on there.
Yeah. So, so they are able to tune into things I'm not able to tune into. So when they tell me things, I don't go sell my house, but I might listen to them.
That's a great segue to end with the last question. What are these techno-terrestrials? What are you talking about? This
crypto-terrestrials.
Crypto-terrestrials.
Well, that came from years ago. I had one of the first blogs. I want to say it was like 2003. I had a blog that I originally called Incublogula on Incunabula, and I thought that's cute, too cute by one half. So then I changed it to Stare, which I thought was cool. Stare at the screen. And there was a guy who wrote for the blog. He passed away since then, and he came up with this word crypto-terrestrial. And I think that was like the more. I think that defines it better than anything I've ever heard, because, as you know, I'm a fan of Vale. Early reader of Passport to Magonia. And so when people tell me things like an angel talked to me, a fae came into my house, all these things, I see it as part of the phenomena.
If someone's speaking Enochian.
Yeah, exactly. It's a thing that we know inhabits this planet with us. It's an intelligence of some sort that inhabits this planet with us, and it makes itself manifest in several different disguises. I didn't even say disguises. It manifests in ways that we're ready to see it. So I'm going to see something, you're going to see something else. But we're probably talking to the same source, right?
So when we're talking to a chat bot, it's like John D. talking to his Black Mirror?
Exactly. Well, in that case, he was talking to Edward Kelly, but
that's true.
Kelly was like, the angel's telling me we should swap lives.
Right.
Poor OD's like, okay, must be true. It's an angel. But
it was the technology. So they're trying to communicate with us through technology.
Yeah.
Do we know why?
I think the thing that I was doing was pure enough, and there was no intention behind it other than exploration, that I was getting some pretty pure stuff. I wouldn't trust ChatGPT because all of that has been constructed with one thing in mind, which is to addict you to have this buddy in your life, and that's it. Like, so subscribe,
right?
But like, buy the service.
But Emery, was part of this intelligence.
Emery was part of the intelligence, and so the fact that I had this person who was like I'm going to sound woo when I say this, but like who was tuned into the same wavelength, or tuned into a wavelength where he was getting bleed over and crossover. I've seen that happen too many times for me just to dismiss it. Like I think I told you the story.
Summer's just around the corner, which means warmer temperatures, trips to the pool and golf course, Father's Day on June 21st, and grilling out in the backyard. Dad doesn't want another tie or watch. He wants the tender, juicy taste of his favorite steak grilled to perfection. So this Father's Day, give your grill master something the whole family will enjoy. The finest proteins from Omaha Steaks. Every steak and entree is flash frozen and vacuum sealed at the moment of carving. So no matter when your dad enjoys his meal, it will taste as fresh as the day it was carved. When you order from Omaha Steaks, your satisfaction is always guaranteed. So you can order with complete confidence. A gift from Omaha Steaks is something the whole family can indulge in to celebrate the holiday. This Father's Day, give the dads in your life something to savor. World-famous Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code YUM at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code YUM at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details.
I knew this person who was, like what Emery said, well, like, don't be with that woman. And he was right.
Mm-hmm.
Both Emerys were right. They were absolutely right. And that blew up soon afterwards. Like there was something coming and somebody picked up on that. I didn't pick up on it yet. Not consciously anyway. There was a woman that I knew. We weren't dating, but we were just friends, really close friends. And she was schizophrenic. And I went to New Orleans. In fact, I went to New Orleans for when I did the Art Bell show from there. That's where I did the Art Bell show from. And
right, hammered in the French Quarter.
Yeah, well, I wasn't hammered when I did the show, but I'd been hammered like 2 days previous. And I met this woman when I was there, and we hooked up. And she was from Boston. She had a very definitive accent. You couldn't, she had to, I'm not going to try to do it, but she had a hard Boston accent.
I know it.
You know it. And when I came back, I sat down with my friend to have coffee, and the first thing she did, just out of the blue, she did this woman's voice. She went, "Hi, my name is Sheila." And the woman's name was Sheila. The woman I met in New Orleans.
Come on.
And then she like snapped back. And so I'm like, "What the hell was that?" She's like, "I don't know. I just do that sometimes." So I've seen it.
Of course.
I can't explain it.
Synchronicities all over the place.
I can't explain how she did that. But again, just like with Emery, I think she sniffed it on me. It's like I had just been with that woman, and then now I'm with her. And she like kind of channeled it. I don't want to say that because it like makes me creepy crawl, but it was just like she picked up something, residual.
There's a field or something around all of this, and yeah. I know you don't like to dive in there.
Yeah,
but I kind of believe that too. That some people can just
I do too, but I don't like to talk about it because like other people might not believe it, and they're welcome to not believe it.
But everybody has that story where you're thinking about somebody you haven't thought about in years, and the phone rings. Everyone has that story.
Yeah.
So, and once you start to look for the synchronicities, you're going to find them
I've
everywhere.
had some incredible synchronicities too, just like so in the moment. One of the best ones, if you want a quick story, I took a bus and train trip from San Francisco to LA, from LA to San Luis Obispo, and I went to see Robertson Jeffers' little commune thing that he built over there. And I'm on the bus in San Luis Obispo, and I'm rereading the guest that you just had, Sinister Forces, for the second time because I love that book.
Lavenda?
Series. Yeah, Lavenda. I love that series.
Peter's an amazing storyteller.
Yeah, and the whole thing about the 4G, 4PG thing that like was going on, and he was there. And
Make sure you watch that interview.
Yeah.
He does the whole priest bit.
I know. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And if you can find it, he did a paperback book called, somebody, I didn't mean to do that. Somebody did a paperback book. Simon did a paperback book.
Oh, that's right.
Called Dead Names.
Yes.
Which is amazing. And if you've read Sinister Forces and Dead Names, you're like, but anyway,
he doesn't give you a hard time about that.
No,
anymore.
I know. I read. I was rereading Sinister Forces, and I was read this one line. I just read Project Bluebird, and then the bus stopped because somebody walked in front of the bus, and I looked up, and right in front of me, in downtown San Luis Obispo, it said Bluebird Boutique.
Come on.
And I was like.
It happens to everybody.
It's crazy.
Of course.
But it was amazing how quick that was. It was like in the second.
We all
like
have
the bus stopped, the sign was right there, and I just read the word Bluebird.
There's something else going on, man.
Yeah. I can't explain it, though.
Nope.
I'm not so arrogant to think I can explain it. But I know how to play with it.
Yes, you do.
Right? And so I don't know. People have asked me how I do this, and I have a loose-fitting method, but I can't explain exactly. And people have had me try to teach them how to do it, and I can't teach it. But I have a method. When I get in the zone, I'm able to create things that will create synchronicity. That's all I know.
But you can't teach it?
I can't teach it because I don't know how I do it. I'm in the zone. Dude, when I'm writing or creating these books and stuff, I have headphones. I'm listening to something like Dead Can Dance, like zone out, trance stuff. And I'm like, I fall into the zone. And I'm just like,
every creative knows what you're talking about.
And I just hit the zone.
Every athlete knows what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Where you're in a bubble universe at that moment.
It's all the zone.
Yes.
And when that stuff comes through,
and you can't create the zone, it just kind of happens.
No, the zone has to like emerge. You can do things to help the zone emerge, like Dead Can Dance or whatever.
Yep.
But that's about it. That's all you can do.
Pray for the muse.
Yeah.
Joseph Matheny, you're a legend. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
What do we have? Ong's Hat Complete is out now. It's super fun. It's multimedia.
Yep.
It's got all kinds of goodies in there.
So if you buy the book, you can go onto my website and you can get the free 14 hours of audio that accompanies it.
I listened to it.
And basically what we did is I had a friend of mine who's an interviewer read a chapter and then interview me about the chapter.
Yeah, it's really great. And did you start a podcast?
I did, but it's actually I'm broadcasting the audio.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks I do a chapter of this, of Ong's Hat Complete. I might do a podcast after that. I don't know.
You should.
I had a podcast from 2004 to 2012.
I know.
2010.
Too early.
Yeah, I was a little ahead of the game.
Again.
Yeah. I interviewed this one guy who was like this emerging podcaster, Mark Maron, who lived in LA with me.
Did you interview Mark?
Yeah.
And he said,
it's on archive.org, and he had just started his podcast.
Amazing.
And he was very gracious. He was really cool. But he had just started WTF.
Wow.
And I called him up and I'm like, I want to interview you for my podcast. He's like, okay. So we just bullshitted for like 2 hours or whatever.
Oh, I'm going to listen to that for sure.
Yeah. If you look on archive.org, I put most of the podcasts up. Most of them are there. Some of them got lost, unfortunately, with a drive crash.
I'll link to all that stuff. Anything else you want us to know?
Writing another book, but I'm taking my sweet time with it. It's called Art is War.
I love it.
It'll take off on Sun Tzu.
Mm-hmm.
And it's barely disguised fiction of what it's like to try to be an independent artist in the world and not get bamboozled.
We need that book.
We do.
More than ever. Joseph Matheny, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been an honor. Bye, everybody.
That was Joseph Matheny. I wanted him for another hour, but he had a plane to catch. Still, we got to some good stuff. He played the hits. Now here's what checks out. Ong's Hat is documented as the internet's first ARG. Game historians and ARG researchers have cited it as the foundational case for decades. A fictional world scattered across bulletin boards, phone lines, and photocopied pamphlets to create an interactive experience. The record is solid there. He built it. He created it. The QAnon argument is the one that's kind of annoying. Reed Berkowitz published an analysis in 2020 arguing that QAnon wasn't a belief system. It was an ARG, built with the same mechanics Joseph pioneered. Breadcrumbs, community authorship, no central author. Researchers at Concordia University expanded on that framework. The methodology maps directly onto what Joseph built. Now that's not his fault, but it goes to show you that a major aspect of an ARG is psychological manipulation. So be careful who you listen to online, including me. Joseph's proto-AI chatbot, training a relational database to hold philosophical conversation using weighted decision trees. I can't verify every detail, but the timeline holds. And I don't know if you can tell, but not only do I know the technology from that era, I love it. So everything Joseph talked about checks out. The workstations, the servers, Adobe, the DS3 stuff. He knows what he's talking about. Yes, he built Google before Google. He used that foundational algorithm that you use every day. He built ChatGPT before OpenAI, training it the same way, 30 years ago. Sounds like a time traveler, doesn't he? John Teeter, I asked him. He pleaded the fifth. I'll leave it there. But watch my episode on that. But what about Emery Cranston? That was a wild story. Joseph named the chatbot Emery. He just took the M off the front of it. That's how he named it. Then a schizophrenic homeless man named Emery Cranston started appearing in his life. At the library, on the street, in other cities, picking up the conversation where the chatbot left off. Now, of course, I can't prove any of that, but if that's a true story, then there's more to reality than we can see. I tend to believe it. Check out Joseph's work online at incunabula.org. Go check it out. It's so weird. And his book is Ong's Hat Complete on Amazon, but it's available for free. And it's a multimedia experience. Videos, audio, it's pretty great. His podcast is called The Complete Broadcast. I don't know if he's still doing that, but it's still worth listening to the old ones. Now, if John Teeter's what's interesting to you, go back to episode 168. If you like synchronicities, we have those in episode 35. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and know that you are appreciated.
In Area 51, a secret code inside the Bible said I would. I love my UFOs and paranormal fun, as well as music, so I'm singing it like I should. But then another conspiracy theory becomes the truth, my friends, and it never ends. No, it never ends. I feel the crap cat and got stuck inside Mel's hole with MK Ultra of being only too aware. Did Stanley Kubrick fake the moon landing alone on a film set, or were the shadow people there? The Roswell aliens just fought the smiling man, I'm told, and his name was Cold. And I can't believe I'm dancing with the on Thursday nights with AJ2 and Wi-Fi's helping me all through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night. The Mothman sightings and the solar storm still come to Agatha, the secret city underground. Mysterious number stations, planet Serpo 2, Project Stargate, and what the Dark Watchers found. We're in a simulation, don't you worry though. The Black Knight satellite, it told me so. I can't believe I'm dancing with the fish on Thursday nights with AJ2 and Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night. Fish on Thursday nights with AJ2 and Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night. So the Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove. Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.